Is that the song?
And go.
When you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. When you're on the pot, give it all you got. When you're on, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. When you're on, give it all you got. It stings when I pee. It burns when I poop when I push real hard. Things don't go that well. It stings when I pee. And I
Wow. Okay. That didn't fade out like I planned. It's still going. There we go. All right, everyone. Episode 7. If we don't have episode 6, that's because...
We can't count.
Well, that and I destroyed it purely by accident.
It happens, right?
Oh, man. I was so mad about that, though.
Also, if you don't ever hear 6, this is Alex.
Yes, because that was in that episode. So we had Alex on last time because Brad is in the field and Alex has graciously agreed to fill in.
Yeah.
Because Brad's going to be out. We want to keep going. So
I'll try to help hold this up
yeah.
best I can.
So you're going to have probably it's maybe 5-6 weeks of good episodes and we'll go back to the regular stuff.
Yeah. It might be the other way around. We'll see.
Oh, yeah, we'll see. But yes, no, I was bad all weekend about that because it was such a good episode. We had so much fun. And then, so anyone that hasn't used an Apple, and anyone who has used an Apple will know what I'm talking about. Probably will know what I'm talking about. On a PC, when you drag a folder over an existing folder, it doesn't replace the entire folder. It asks if you want to replace the files that are the same in the folder, and if there's ones that aren't the same, it just copies in. Not so much on a Mac. You drag it over, it just deletes the old file, puts a new one down. And I accidentally did that.
Yeah, I've never really used a Mac computer. I used to have an iPhone, but yeah, I'm mainly PC. So yeah, that really... I never expected that. I wouldn't have.
Everything else on this is so intuitive and makes sense. And then that one thing is just dumb. Like, why would you design it that way?
Got to be different, right?
Yeah, we're going to be different. We're going to make this just so that if you accidentally do something, it'll erase everything that you were doing and you'll just get infuriated. That's our goal. But yeah, so maybe we can salvage some of it. Brad was going to try to salvage a little bit. So maybe we can get like sound bites or something out of it. Little 2-minute deals we can throw up on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, we'll see.
But get whatever. Anyway, Alex is here with us, or with me. There's no us, just me and Alex.
Yeah, we're us.
We are us. I are us.
Uh-huh.
We were trying to find the song in here, and we were going through some of the things in our folder, and we found this, and this is hysterical. This is an actual sermon.
Yeah, who is it?
From Oral Roberts.
Okay.
And it is...
Yeah, I heard the beginning and
It's unique. We're going to listen to a little bit of it.
Yeah.
We men want to take a woman in our arms, and a girl wants to take a man in her arms, and pretty soon we want to take him to bed with us. Go on. Go over there and touch it. Put your arms around her.
Oh.
Put your hand on her breast. See how far you can take your hand. See how far she'll let you go. Go ahead, girl. Touch him at the most sensitive part of his body.
Oh, this is too much. It's funny. That could probably be on, because it's Oral Roberts, you could probably find a way to get onto a Christian network, but that should not be on a Christian network.
No, that's, upsetting.
Oh, yeah, that is fantastic. Go ahead and touch her breast.
Don't know why he would think that's okay to say. But.
There's another one that's on there somewhere. I'm not going to go digging for it, but he's talking about like being gay or whatever.
I'm sure that's pretty fantastic.
Well, one part he's like, I'm not gay, but I go to church. And he stops. He's like, oh, that's not believable. Okay, go ahead and delete that part. It's just like, what?
I'm not gay, but I go to church?
Yeah, like he was trying to say that, I'm going to church so that, if you're going to church, you're not going to be gay because you're going to get, all these great Christian values from church, and then he just stops and is like, well, that's not believable. He was bonkers, man.
Yeah.
Totally bonkers. Of course, there's a lot of them that we were talking about that. There's a lot of them that go bonkers, like later in life, like they're perfectly good. Like Pat Robertson, he was when we were kids. He was a good guy to listen to, like Christian wise. But then he got like way out there. Like he's had some crazy things he said. I can't even remember what they are, but I remember like you just there for a while. You just saw like. It was like one news story after another of like him saying stuff.
Was he the same one that had the whole towel thing?
I don't remember.
Or was that a different one? I thought you could get AIDS from a towel?
No, that was him.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was like he didn't know where AIDS came from or how you contracted it. He's just like, you could get it from a towel if a gay man touches it. And it's just like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh, dude. And the thing is, like, it's definitely like, shall we say, insensitive comments. But I don't necessarily think that he's a bigot. It's just that he's gotten old and bonkers, and he has just no clue what's coming out of his mouth anymore.
Right.
Like he just doesn't understand how reality is, and just kind of talks. So yeah. So what's new? How's things going?
Things are good with me.
So say you're home by yourself this week. How's that going?
It's fine. I seem to be more busy whenever it's just me in the house.
Well, it's because no one's home and you can get stuff done. There's not someone that needs, you don't have to change a diaper. You don't have to go corral a kid or.
Yeah, I don't when everybody's home, I don't feel right getting home and then like going out in the garage and working on something or.
Disappear for 2 hours and don't see your family. And
yeah, I mean, I want to spend time with them. So, no, I think I've replaced the front struts on my old Volkswagen.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I got it. It actually was easier than I thought it was going to be. Did some electrical for a pregnancy resource center, do some volunteer work.
There you go. You claim that on your taxes.
Yeah, can I? I don't know.
Probably. If you know what your going rate is, you probably could.
It's very high.
$6,000 an hour. I was there for 12 days.
Yeah, not quite.
But then you have to have the people there sign off on it too, so you can get the.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's probably not worth it. $100. Well, we don't have enough deductibles for this to actually matter. Did I have all the foam up last time you were here? Got to finish. I finished trimming it. I can't remember if I can talk.
Yeah, I think you had it all, except you were wanting to put one more line.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten that one. I'd like to put one across here too, just because I think that would help. But I definitely need to put one down that side. But so yeah, and you know what? I don't have anything gross for you guys to eat or for you to eat today. I mean, I guess you can have some more of these portobello jerkies.
Still got more.
That stuff was gross.
Yeah, I tried some of that last.
I feel like the flavor was okay. It was just like
the flavor is good, but like we had decided last time, the consistency is like stale popcorn.
Yeah, like you bite into it and it's a little bit fluffy, and then it just compresses into something that sticks to your teeth.
Yeah,
and then it also it's like a good flavor with that weird like basement-y flavored mushroom aftertaste.
Basement-y.
Well, like when you go into a basement, it just smells like wet dirt or something.
Yeah. I guess I could see that.
It's exactly what a mushroom tastes like.
And I guess I kind of complained about the texture, but really, texture doesn't bother me.
I'll have another. There you go. Eat up.
I already ate, so I think I'm good. But like Brad, it seems to really bother Brad.
Oh, man.
But me, like, I was thinking about it after the episode last time, and there's so many things where, for me, if it tastes good, I'm pretty cool with it. Like if it's overcooked, that's actually like never been a problem for me. And I think that might be how I was raised, because like when I was growing up, everything was over well done.
Yeah. Well, that's like, I think we've talked on here before about it. And like when I was a kid, I didn't like steak at all. Mm. But Mom thinks that if there's any pink whatsoever in a steak, it's still like 5 minutes from being done because it's still undercooked.
Yeah, that's still how my mother is.
That's how my mom is too.
And I remember one time we went over, she had us over, And Amber and I were like, okay, I think she was cooking I think it was round steak, and it was in the oven. Mm-hmm. And she went and checked on the steak, and she came back and put them back in the oven. I was like, oh, are they not done yet? She goes, no, they're done, but I think they need a little bit longer. So you just said they're done. Well, I want to make sure they're done.
I don't want to get... Well, that's one thing. Like beef is one of the few meats that there's not a lot of things you can get from it if it's undercooked. I think there's a few, but...
Yeah, it's one of the safe. It's not like pork.
Yeah, you don't want to eat like medium rare chicken breast or something.
Right.
Get some fantastic E. coli.
Yeah, which I don't know if you've ever seen that. Have you seen that? I think it was a tweet or something. Some girl was like, if you don't eat your chicken medium rare, then don't talk to me or something.
She like cut it and it was like just totally raw in the center.
Oh, that looks so disgusting.
Oh, I hate dealing with chicken, like raw chicken.
Yes.
It's like dealing with slightly solid Nickelodeon gack. Like it's just like you grab onto it and it's like...
I mean, even when you cut into it, it just feels...
Yeah, because you
doesn't feel right.
You got to put it in like the fridge or the freezer or something if you're going to cut it before you cook it. Otherwise, it's just kind of like mushes. Even if you have to have a really sharp knife.
Yeah.
Like, don't get your finger sharp knife. But
I have a feeling that the same feeling it would when you're cutting through the chicken would be the same as cutting through like your arm or something. Yeah. The same resistance and you can feel it going through each strain. I don't know. It just
Yee. Oh gosh.
That's just how I picture it at least.
You picture some grisly things. Oh, yeah. Oh, speaking of grisly things, I was watching so I've been watching more podcasts lately. And I guess it's just kind of what I do when I'm working. Like I don't watch them while I work, but I just turn them on. That's what I do for work. No, I'll turn on like a podcast from YouTube or something and minimize it and just listen while I work. And I was listening to there's one it's Your Mom's House with Tom Segura and his wife.
I think you guys were talking about that last time.
And they're kind of over the top. Like they go really into the fart jokes and they get like.
Well, they have the fart mics, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, they have like they get way into that and they get into like the dirty stuff. And but they had a video and I saw it on there at one point, and like this kid was trying to do like the stuff from like the Jackass TV show.
Yeah.
And like tied a rope around his goodies.
Ooh, that doesn't sound good.
Tied the other end of the rope to a tree and then ran and jumped off the top of some bleachers.
Yeah, that's not going to end well for...
Yeah, like what would you... Like I watched the video because like they said it and then like they start making comments. I'm like, well, what is this? So I like stop, pop it up, watch it for a second. And I'm just like, like what was he... Like I get it. There's sometimes you'll do things that, there's not really a good outcome. Best outcome is like this, I'm going to have a bruise, but everyone's going to laugh is like the best outcome. The best outcome that could have come of that was I'm really going to hurt my privates.
Yeah.
Badly.
And that's the least.
The worst is I pull them off and probably bleed to death.
Yeah, that's...
And I think he ended up pulling one of his testicles out.
I wouldn't be surprised. I can't even... it hurts to think about that.
Though that part was a little funny. Not that happened, but like...
Hilarious!
But the kid's like running around. He's like, my ball's out. My ball's out. And everyone's laughing like, oh, that's funny. And then they stop and they're like, oh, no. He's not lying. That's like when someone falls down or something. You're like, that's funny. And it turns out they hurt themselves. You're like, oh, I guess it's not funny anymore.
Yeah, see, I can't. Like, I'll watch blooper videos, but if somebody gets hurt, like, seriously, like, it just, I can't stand to watch it. It just.
Yeah, it's a little much.
Yeah, that's a little too much for me.
I never could get into the Jackass show, though. Like, that was too much.
I think I saw one of the movies, and I think the part where I stopped, I don't know if you'd seen it, but a guy put a string around his tooth.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and then they tied it to the other end to a Lamborghini, and the tooth was perfectly fine. There wasn't anything wrong with it, and it was like a molar too. And you see the car take off, and you see the guy, he's freaking out, and it just yanks the whole tooth out.
Does it pull him over?
No, it doesn't pull. You hear it pop, and like at that point, I was done.
That would be brutal.
Yeah, I just
That stuff's not
I feel like
funny.
that stuff gets stuck in your head and
that's like
gives you poo brain or something. I don't
yeah, it
know.
definitely gives you poo brain. Like you see that stuff and you're just ugh.
Yeah.
Like it's not funny, it's gross.
Yeah. And that's I don't know, I guess it's that shock factor or whatever.
I mean, they've had some funny ones on there. It was kind of funny. Like one of them where they got a little hurt. That was kind of funny. Is I think Johnny Knoxville got in a ring with like a lady Muay Thai fighter,
Oh yeah, I'd seen that.
and like it was supposed to be like a girl's gonna kick his butt, and he gets in there and she
Oh,
just
yeah.
destroys him. Like she's gonna destroy any normal dude without a problem.
Yeah. I think I saw one where they shot Johnny Knoxville with the beanbag gun. And that one was bad enough where everybody else was looking around. They're like, no, that was like they were all shaking their head like, why did we do this one?
Well, then you have ones where it's like Wee Man dressed up like a Oompa Loompa, skateboarding down like the Santa Monica or whatever the boardwalk is down there.
Yeah.
And you see him going down, and like everyone's just kind of looking at him. And you see this one old like this gross looking hippie dude in his like army coat, just sitting there. He's smoking a cigarette. You know what? I mean, it's obviously like a joint. And he just goes past, and he just like stops. His eyes get giant. And he just kind of looks at his cigarette, just kind of looks around, and
Yeah. Those just messing around, nobody really gets hurt. That's, yeah, I can get on board with that.
of course, I'm a big fan of just messing with people in general like that. I mean, that's like 90% of being a dad.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Just messing with your kids. Yeah. Well, speaking of the joint, we were having a nice discussion outside. I guess was it this week or was it last weekend? Where I need to stop drinking Monsters when I'm on here. I get the burps. But they were it passed the Senate in the state of Illinois that they're going to have recreational marijuana.
Yeah.
So we're going to have that fun time coming.
Yeah. And I don't know. I guess I'm not really sure of my views on that. I've always been, I guess, against it because it's illegal, but then now it's legal. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I guess I've never really been on board with the whole being high thing.
I'm going to say my point of view on it is like, I'm not like you shouldn't be going out and getting just blackout drunk either, but people do that and that's legal. So if that's
Right.
legal, then
Which I don't really agree with that either. So
right. Well, I mean, there's lots of things that we don't agree with, but they're not illegal. So I mean,
right.
I don't have a problem with it. It's just like we were talking. The only problem I have with it is like there's going to be a lot of people losing jobs because there's no good testing for it right now. I mean, they're going to have to go to follicle testing or something.
And yeah, I remember, I mean, I think it's probably been years where I'd heard that before, where their biggest issue with if they do legalize it is, if somebody has a fork truck accident at work. There's no way to tell if they are high when it happened or, if it was, Saturday when they...
Right. Like you could clean out an entire bottle of whiskey over the weekend, like on a Friday.
Right.
After you get done with work, you go home, you just black yourself out. You wake up the next day, you have a headache, you may still be a little drunk. By the end of that day, you're sober, probably still have a headache. If you're over the age of 30, you're going to have a headache for the next 3 days. But still, like you're done. Now, if you go and smoke like a ton of pot on a Friday, and you go into work on Monday and you bump something with a fork truck and they send you for drug testing,
Right.
you're failing. You're going to fail, and that's going to be your job.
Yeah. And
It's legal, but it's not legal.
Right. But it's the same thing with alcohol.
Yeah.
But they just don't have a good way to test it right now. So I don't know how they're going to get around that.
Yeah, that's going to be hairy, especially working at a factory where you can't get people as is. Mm-hmm. It's going to be bad news. They're going to have to figure something out real quick.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not against pot per se because I understand that there is medical benefits.
Right.
There are the benefits to it, but like I've stated before, most of that is in the CBD.
Yeah, and there's some in the THC too, but it's I don't know, like if someone's taking like Xanax for their anxiety,
Oh yeah,
I can't imagine that the pot's worse.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I don't.
Like if
There
someone goes
again,
home and
I don't
eats a
agree
brownie,
with the pills either.
yeah,
But yeah, sorry, I'm against everything.
I stand for nothing. No, Well, that's what I think. I mean, like,
But that's just my personal preference. Like, I don't.
well, that's something that always bugged me too. Is like you have the, like going back to the pill thing. I don't know how many like super duper like churchy type people who, they even hear about the. I don't remember who it was, but I remember talking to a person one time, and they were freaking out because Illinois legalized medicinal marijuana.
Which
And
perfectly
100%
fine.
of that should be.
If you're terminally, and
Well, I mean, that helped Tom out a ton with his chemo. That was a big
Right.
deal for him. I mean, it helped out a ton. But like, I don't have an issue with that. But then you have someone that was arguing with me over it, and they're like, "Yeah, it's a sin, blah blah blah." While they're on like the dang heroin patch because their back's been hurting them.
right.
It's like, so you think it's better to be prescribed heroin than it is to be prescribed marijuana?
Right.
Like, you do realize how ridiculous this is.
Right.
Of course, that always got me too. Is you have someone that'll complain about a person who drinks a little too much beer or something, and then you see them at a potluck and they're just cramming full of like,
Oh, yeah. That's.
eat like half a pan of like banana pudding stuff with vanilla wafers and whipped cream on top.
Yeah, that's not healthy for you either.
It's like-
but actually, the pot is probably healthier for you than
Either
that,
of those
for sure.
two.
For sure.
I don't know. I just think I don't care. Like, people can do what they want. I'm kind of more of a just let people do what they want as
Right.
long as it doesn't affect other people.
Right. Don't force it. Like, as long as the whole culture doesn't start getting, you got to accept me for do what you want, whatever. Just don't.
Hey, as long as they don't come up and they're like, I'm super high and I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
You got to pay for me because that's my life choice. It's like, well, it's my life choice not to buy your groceries. How about
Right.
that? But yeah, no, I'm for it. I'm down with it. State's broke. Might as well tax something else.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it'd definitely make money on it.
I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting topic, really.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, I'm not, even if it's legal, I don't think I would smoke it. It's not something I'm interested in. It's just not my thing.
Oh, well, as soon as it's legal, I'm in.
I got my Bob Marley shirt waiting for me. I come over to Alex's house and just smell like a dead skunk. His eyes will be all red, and he'll just be sitting over the corner going, "Don't worry, be happy."
Sounds just like me.
I always like talking to people who are stoned, and they're just like, you can tell they're moving at half speed. And you're just like, "Hey man, how's it going?" They're just like, "Oh, yeah, it's going good, man."
Yeah.
And you know what's like? Okay, so it's not addictive. Every time you talk to someone who's very pro pot, they're like, it's not addictive. It's less addictive than chocolate. It's like, well, that may be true for physical addiction, but there's definitely mental addiction because it triggers the happiness enzyme in your brain.
Oh,
What the heck is it? How did I forget that? It was like when I started that statement, I knew what it was. By the end of it, I didn't.
I think I knew it, and then you made me forget it with that statement.
Thanks a lot, Daniel.
Endorphins?
No, it's Anyway, black tar heroin. But whatever it is, it makes your brain produce more of that, which just makes you happy. And happiness is addictive.
Yeah.
And so if you're not doing anything to get that happiness other than just rolling some stuff in a piece of paper and then lighting it on fire.
Right. Well, at that point, I feel like you're just escaping reality,
Yeah.
and I mean, that's the same for,
Alcohol, even
yeah.
tobacco.
Yeah.
But
Well, going back to when you said, you like talking to people who are high and, apparently I can't tell when people are under the influence of like anything. 'Cause I remember at my last job, I had a coworker who I guess I was kind of over him. I was his mentor, and he was just acting really odd. Like he was falling asleep at work, and I'm like, what is going on with this dude? And I went and talked to him. I'm like, dude, are you sick or something? He's like, yeah, I'm sick. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm sorry, but you can't, he found a corner and fell asleep in a corner. I'm like, dude, you can't sleep at work. That's not cool. And I, said something to some other coworkers, and they're like, yeah, I think he's drunk. I'm like, he is? They're like, yeah, can't you smell it on his breath? I'm like, well, I guess I don't get close enough. I have a problem with just making eye contact in general, and I think that's probably where
probably.
a big portion of my not being able to read people whenever they're under the influence of something is I
Can't just, yeah.
I tend to avoid eye contact. I'm not sure why.
Dopamine and endorphins.
I did say endorphin, didn't I?
You may have.
Pretty sure I did.
Okay, so it's.
If I didn't, that's what I meant to say.
I think the one I'm thinking of was dopamine.
Okay.
But yeah, it triggers that. It makes your brain produce that, which is why everyone's so chill and relaxed on it.
Is that why they call it dope?
Probably. It's possible.
I mean, it sounds logical.
It makes sense. What if it was like they were calling people dopes for doing it, and that was what it was? And then when they figured out that, like, when they found
which term came first? Mm-hmm. Dope or dopamine?
And then they named dopamine after marijuana's being dope.
I like that. Let's start spreading that.
Mm-hmm. Let's do it. You could definitely. I mean, people could just think about hobbies and stuff. Hobbies will trigger dopamine as well. So I mean, if you're really into, say, like rock climbing or something, just climbing up a big cliff just makes you happy. You become addicted to rock climbing.
Yeah, I guess it just comes back to like something that's your safety net. Like I've heard of people like they'll quit smoking, and what they'll do is they'll pick up sunflower seeds. So they're always chewing sunflower seeds. Well, yeah, but then you can't take those away because they need that.
Yeah, they need their tick or whatever.
Yeah. That's
definitely going to change things. Things are going to be different after that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Glad I don't work in a factory anymore.
Yeah. Aaron's going to come to work, just eyes bloodshot.
You know it.
Man, I just rode like 40 miles yesterday. Spiritual, man. Spiritual. I really hope Aaron listens to this one.
Then you ask Jenny, and she just says that, yeah, he was just sitting in the living room watching a car drive down the road on the TV.
He's watching Tour de France. I was there, man.
Yeah, there you go. That's better.
I was riding through France with Lance Armstrong. He was like my best bud. Going to his kid's birthday next week. Speaking of which, Lance Armstrong, what happened to that guy? I haven't heard anything else since they figured out he was doing steroids.
Yeah, I guess I've heard some of what it was. Like he was doing, everybody was, I think they call that doping. Mm-hmm. But from what it sounded like, everybody was doping at the time. And because like he all of a sudden, shot up like he was nobody. And then he was there on the scene and he was beating everybody. But it's because everybody else was doping and he wasn't. So then he
did.
He started doping and then, yeah.
What's funny, I was listening to something the other day and they were talking about how like they knew someone that played college football. And like he was talking about how sophisticated the drugs were. Because like they have 2 years or so to actually make an impact, to make an impression, so that NFL or someone like that will pick them up. And so there's so much stress to get like just huge like that like every single one of them that was on the team was doing steroids and doing like the testosterone therapy and doing all that stuff. Just so they could get huge. And then what they would do is they would stop for a little while because they knew when the drug tests were. Yeah. Do the tests, they passed, and then go right back to it. And which is supposedly that's about the way it is in every sport anymore. Like anyone that's talking, there's not many athletes anymore who don't
do something
to enhance performance.
Well, I know one that I'd heard of is where they actually draw your blood. Mm-hmm. And then they save it for like right before the race or competition, and then they give you your blood back so that you have more. I don't know what the terms are for it, but basically gives you. I don't know if you can have more oxygen in your body because you got more blood and.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of things where they do that stuff. Let me see if I can find this. This is funny. Speaking of steroids.
My next guest is the World Wrestling Federation's champion. He's outrageous, he's mean, he's macho,
volume a little bit here.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Man, I wish I could have watched this guy wrestle. Like, it had to have been fantastic. I just want the coat.
Just the coat?
Well, you gotta have the whole ensemble.
I was gonna say, why are you stopping there?
Have a seat, sir.
That's gotta feel weird. It's gotta feel like you've got
tower of power, too sweet to be sour. I'm funky like a monkey. Sky's the limit and space is the place.
Hello.
Or seriously, what do I do with that?
Check it out, yeah.
Check it out, yeah.
You got
clean.
Wait.
Yeah.
A black boot, a white boot. Oh, you got your belt.
I'm not a racist.
No.
What are you trying to put on me?
You know
Live and
what?
let live, Arsenio, man. Don't put me under the gun so quickly, yeah?
Well, no. I was just gonna give you a compliment. I'm thinking you're probably the best dressed man in wrestling.
Well, isn't that something? You know, I just think that I'm the conservative type, you know, like Wall Street, Harvard, Yale, you know what I mean? But if I go on a wild date, then I'll dress up, you know what I mean? Kind of a relaxed type man.
Okay.
Right?
So that's not wild.
Now I called
Right,
you.
yeah.
Agree with him 'cause I'm close. Okay.
He's in the danger zone.
Yes, indeed.
Danger zone.
But he feels like it, too.
You told me you wouldn't like this, but
So you did it anyway.
no. But this is it's the Ultimate Warrior doll,
Right.
and
That
is
guy-
it outselling
now
your
that
doll?
guy-
Not at all.
Oh,
He had a
okay.
lot of drugs.
No, I just
Oh, yeah.
wondered. Somebody, I didn't get the proper information.
Right, you didn't. No.
It's not outselling your doll.
I didn't say that either. I'm too hot to handle, too cold to hold, and whatever this guy here is, he's gonna have to face me at Wembley Stadium in front of 83,000 people, and he's gonna get beat, because I'm the champion and he's not.
Dude, is it just me or is his cowboy hat like super tall?
Yeah.
Can you beat
Like a
guy
10-gallon
who looks
hat?
like that?
Yeah, I think I got a size advantage on him right now. He's just a real little guy, you know?
Yeah, I don't know where it is on here. I thought it was right at the beginning, but yeah, he starts talking about his steroid use, and he's just like, "Oh, steroids." He's like, "Yeah, we did the steroids, but we didn't know they were bad." He's like, "I don't use them anymore, man." Oh yeah. Oh, fantastic. So yeah, I can't think. I had some ideas today, but I can't even think of them.
Don't have any potty jokes?
Um,
Well, I got a story.
Okay,
that
go
I
for it.
remembered.
And you didn't bring your intro and extra. I thought you were bringing.
Oh no, it was just the music. I was just messing with you.
I thought you were. I thought you were bringing a bucket and some X-Lax.
No, I'm not gonna poop in a bucket for you. That might be weird. Maybe.
Record that.
Anyway, no, I'd remembered a story. It's probably one of the best, most memorable, I guess, fart stories I could ever remember. Mm-hmm. From whenever I was in a junior high. I was at church camp, and it was late at night. It was right before we all went to bed. All the leaders had brought all the boys around because, it's separated, thankfully, separated housing from boys and girls. This was at Little Galilee. I don't know if anybody will know where that's
Sounds
at.
familiar. Is it over by Mattoon or something?
No, it's over, I think, by Clinton.
Maybe that's where I saw it. I've seen the sign for it before.
Yeah, going up north on, I think it's on 51.
Yeah.
There's signs for it. Anyway, so had a nice talk. I think it was something about girls, wait until you're older and, be respectful of girls, and real touching, whole nice.
I like where this is going.
It was very memorable. And, it got to a lot of us, and it was getting quiet, and he's like, okay, let's go into prayer. And then everybody bowed their heads, and then it seemed like from nowhere there was this gigantic explosion of a fart coming from the bathroom. Like, it has to be the loudest fart I've still ever heard. And the guy that was getting ready to pray, we all lifted our heads up looking around like, what just happened?
Someone just died.
And he just looks at all of us and goes, well, let's pray for that guy too.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so afterwards, we found out who it was. It was actually another one of the leaders. It was Z. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was his name there. They called him Z. He's a pretty big guy. And
Left protein powder, brother.
he said coming in that his stomach was just, tearing him up. And then he went to the bathroom before this guy had started his whole speech and telling us the whole story.
So he's in there for a while.
Yeah, and if you don't know the layout of the cabin, it's all open, and except for the bathrooms, but they're kind of like half walls, so it's like cinder block walls, so it doesn't go all the way up to the ceiling.
I know what you're talking about.
So yeah, it was just on the other side of the wall whenever this happened, and he said his stomach was just killing him, and he was trying to hold off until he was done speaking, and he just couldn't do it anymore. And he just it ripped and it echoed seriously the loudest fart I'd ever heard.
That's fantastic. That's like, I always feel bad for the guy that makes the loudest noise in the bathroom. Like when you're in a public, like you get out, you're at Walmart or you're at the mall or something, and you go in the bathroom and you're just using the urinal, and you hear some poor guy in there just struggling. And you can tell, like, it won't be his worst day ever, but he's, at that moment, he's thinking, this is probably the worst day of my life.
I guess I don't have any qualms about being in a public bathroom and just letting loose. Like, it doesn't bother me.
Oh, it doesn't bother me either. It's just, I always feel sorry for the guy in here. He's like, oh. You just can tell, like,
Oh yeah, just that feeling of
it feels like it's coming from like up in your rib cage and it just burns. And you're just like, oh.
Oh yeah, well that's never pleasant, but that's why you wait until you're home if you can.
Oh, it's funny. I was thinking about it because we do a lot of fart jokes and stuff on here, and I've got to watch what I say on here with doing those because I was a janitor long enough that none of that stuff bothers me even remotely. I mean, I remember specifically one night after I'd been a janitor for a couple years, I was at Eagle Creek, and I was eating my dinner.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah, it was delicious. Like it was that flank steak with like gravy. It was just, and it had the mashed potatoes and some green beans. It was fantastic. Been waiting all night for it because they had a banquet, and you always got they always order like, you order 100 plates and only 60 people show up or whatever. So then whoever wants a plate back there gets to eat it because it's already paid for and they can't take it home.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there. I just sat down. I took like my first bite of meat, and I'm like, oh, this is magic. And just like right as I'm about done with my first bite, someone walks in. They're like, "Hey, someone threw up in the lobby. You gotta go clean it up." And then, someone else was in there. I was like, "Don't let anyone touch my food." And I go out there, and someone had quite literally bought a pitcher of screwdrivers, so vodka and orange juice, and had proceeded to Chase Sifford just drink out of the frickin' pitcher, and they just downed it way too quick. And threw every single bit of it on the floor. Also, they'd had like a Mexican buffet that night, so it was like all you could eat, like tacos and fajitas. She had way too much of that too and threw that up everywhere. I mean, it was like 6 feet of throw up.
Projectile, huh?
I went out there, I cleaned it all up, washed my hands, went back to the break room, and everyone's like, "Well, you're not going to want to eat that anymore." I'm like, "Why?" Just went back to eating, didn't even faze me.
Why? What did you do to it?
Yeah. You guys do something to my meal? It's like, well, no, you just cleaned up a whole bunch of puke. You could eat after cleaning up puke. It's like, I clean up puke every day.
That's my job. I actually lose my appetite if I haven't smelled vomit in a while.
Yeah. Hungry. And it's funny because there's only been like 3 or 4 incidents when I was a janitor that were just, they grossed me out. And one of them it wasn't really that gross necessarily. It wasn't like, you walk into a bathroom and someone just demolished an entire stall. Because that happened one time. Like, it's not like they ruined the commode. Like, oh man, they blew this thing up. Like, it was on the walls. It was on the floor. Someone had to be in there. Someone had to be in there playing. I mean, that's the only thing that could happen.
They just weren't sitting on the toilet. They were just leaned over. Maybe it was just that much of an emergency where they got their pants down and that's all the further they could get before.
Oh, so it's possible. The way I know from my CSI experience, the splatter patterns were, but like
the pressure behind
there's a few of those where it's just like you walk in, it's just disgusting. But one of the most disgusting ones, like you didn't see anything, but you knew in the back of your brain what you were doing. and it was just awful. And they had a little built like an off building that had like this big commons area, and then like 4 hotel rooms on the bottom and 4 hotel rooms on the top, and they all had a balcony in the they all exited out into the woods, and they all exited out into the commons area, which had a kitchen and the little spiral staircase and everything. Well, it rained a whole bunch, and one of the toilets backed up. And then another toilet backed up. And then every toilet on the bottom floor backed up. And then there was about 1.5 inches of septic water just floating around out in front of the building.
Oh.
And so I'm out there in my regular shoes, wading through the septic water to go clean up bathrooms and sop it up with a frickin' mop and wring it out. And like you look at it, and that water just kind of looks like murky regular water.
Yeah.
But you know what it is.
You know, it's not just
Like if you sent someone in there and just said, "Oh, there was a spill. It felt, it's rain leaked through the roof. It's on the floor down there," and they'd been like, "Okay, not grossed out even slightly." But when you know exactly what that is, it's like, "Oh."
It kind of reminds me of whenever I worked at the marina. It's not a Slurpee story.
Yeah, and they may miss the Slurpee story from last week.
Yeah. I guess I can go over that real quick. So the Slurpee at the marina, if you're not familiar with it, that is a float boat that they have, and they use it to go and suck out the sewers, the septic tanks on all the houseboats that are there at the marina.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's...
Oh, yeah. No, tell them about like putting it in and like when you get the...
Oh, yeah. It's not like an airtight, no leakage system. Gravity has an effect on everything. So
I'm just going to go ahead and put the mic away. I'm going to laugh hard on this one.
So you have your fittings. It's just regular pipe fittings that fit into the port where you suck everything back out of. And you just take your hose and you connect it and you suck everything out. But then you can't quite get everything all the way into the tank. So then when you take it off, bits and pieces fall out into the water. I mean, it's just
little,
part of it.
Little bits and bobs fall out,
Yeah, and I mean, actually, it's gross, but the easiest thing to do to clean that off is just dip it right back in the water that's right there.
Oh, and you guys had enough carp that they're just eating that up.
Oh, yeah, they love that stuff.
Oh, they love that crap. I mean, literally.
Yeah, seriously.
It's nom, 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 nom. But
you wondered how that carp got corned. Well, So the other story I had about the marina was they have the party barge, and they have an outhouse on there, and it's not a porta potty. I think the Findlay Marina, they just have a porta potty on there, which actually is easier to deal with, I think. So the lithias empties out into a tank that is under the party barge, and then you suck it out whenever they bring it back to the gas dock to fuel it up. Well, part of we had a walkthrough checklists to check it out for the customers. And so if somebody was going to check it out, I would always make sure everything was good before, hours before people came. And well, you have to put the chemicals in the toilet for the outhouse. And I did that, and I was like, hey, this thing is not flushing. There's something clogging it. So I had to call maintenance. They came down, and the guy, he pulled it off, pulled the whole toilet up, and he proceeded to just jam his hand into the bottom of the toilet to start pulling everything out. And mind you, he put no sanitary protective gear on or anything. This was just full bare hand.
Oh, that's a good way to get hepatitis, dude.
I was in high school, and I was thinking, I'm like, dude, come on.
Oh my gosh.
Diseases.
I'm cringing.
Yeah, that made a mark on me, I guess.
Would me too. That's nasty.
Yeah, it was.
Of course, you said it last time too. If there was a fire or something, the Slurpee was the fire
it
truck.
would double as a fire boat, fire truck, whatever. You just
turn it on reverse.
It pressurizes, and then there you go. How else do you think they're emptying the tank? Come on.
They should just put they should get one of those Raspberry Pis and just program it to just broadcast through a loudspeaker as you're doing that. It just says, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm really sorry.
This is the best we have. I'm sorry." Because, I mean, really, at that point, do you want them to put the fire out? Because if they put it out with that, are you really going to want the boat back?
Yeah. We saved it, but you'll still want to throw it out.
Can I burn it now? That's pure awful. Mm-hmm. Oh, what if you're on the boat when it was on fire and they started spraying that thing?
I'd just keep your mouth shut.
Don't lick your lips or bite your nails.
Yep.
Keep your eyes closed.
Yeah, that's the advice you give a new plumber. Don't lick your lips or bite your nails.
Ooh, you get a surprise.
Yeah. Done enough plumbing, like on the sewer side, to know that I don't want to have that as a profession.
Man, you've done enough like construction type stuff on the side and as a job and everything else. You could start your own contracting business.
I could, but I really don't want to.
That's beside the point. You could, so you have to. No, what you really need to do is you do need to start a contracting business, but you need to find a factory around here that doesn't have a dedicated contractor, basically, like the one they always call that's in town.
Oh, yeah. That's always like double, triple what it should be, and they put out pure garbage.
Yeah. Then you don't have to do a great job. You just send them a bill. Mm-hmm. I mean, some of the ones we've used, they don't even have to get the bill right or on time or anything like that. They could send you 6 months of bills just one day.
Oh, yeah.
You would make a killing. I mean, those guys make a killing.
Well, yeah, they'll get paid to do the job. Then they'll be called back in to fix what they messed up, and they still charge for fixing what they messed up.
And you'd be making, I mean, you'd probably be making double what you're making now doing that.
Yeah, probably more, actually. They charge pretty hefty for that.
Yeah, make double what you're making and hire someone to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, and the thing is, that's the easy job. It's not like they're calling you in for like a plumbing issue. It's like, oh, the entire pipe system is ruined on this set of pipes. Then you can just be like, you have to call in a better contractor than me.
Yeah.
And then they'll call in like a big one that comes with a jackhammer and like 30 dudes. But if they're like, we need to put a wall up. Can you put up a 2x4 wall that's 8 foot long? And just be like, yeah, $5,000. And be like, all right, cheap.
Yeah, that actually, whenever I was working in a factory, we got a quote from the factory contractor, and it had to be like a 10-foot wall that they wanted to split this one larger, like longer room. So they just wanted to basically cut it in half. No doors, just a plain wall. Plain wall. I think it was steel studs. Those are easier to take down and put up. And then drywall. Nothing fancy. 10, 15-foot wall and 8 foot tall. $10,000.
Holy moly.
And whenever they told us what the quote was, because our supervisor's like, well, it doesn't seem like we're going to get that done because the quote's like $10,000. I was like, I'd do it for $2,000. No problem.
Yeah,
I was like, I'll come in on Saturday and do it on Saturday.
I'll build you the wall this weekend. $4,000.
Yeah, I was like, seriously, that is absurd.
Well, we'll hire people like that, and they'll come in and they'll want like 4 or 5 new garage doors put up. We'll buy the garage doors for them. Like, we'll have them sitting in the maintenance shop just waiting for them to put up. They'll charge us like $1,000 each to put the things up. I mean, that's an afternoon job.
Yeah.
I could make $1,000 in an afternoon and be happy with myself.
Oh, yeah.
I put up a garage door today. That's my day. Of course, those garage doors are a little bit funky. I mean, they're huge. They're like the ones for semis and stuff.
Oh.
And they have those big springs on them and everything. Garage door springs kind of scare me.
I could see that. I've had to wind some by hand before.
Like one of those things, like one of the windy ones pops. That's a lot of force that's coming off.
It's a little nerve-wracking, I guess, doing that.
You're sitting there.
Yeah, well, like I said, I did it by hand, so I just had 2 pipes.
Oh, man.
So
that's a forearm workout for you.
So, you grab one, pull it to you, and then you absolutely make sure you have that next one seated all the way before you pull the other one out.
Yeah, definitely.
But thankfully, I never had one. I never lost one. So
yeah,
or I probably wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah, because definitely have less teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is rough. You know, that's something too. Is like, so I was listening to a show that had Mike Rowe on it, and he was talking about like how we as a country think of jobs improperly. So like kids are taught, you know, figure out what you love, what's your passion, and then go find a job in it. And he was like, most of the people he talked to that were happy, because, you know, he went around and did all the dirty job stuff. So he's talking, you know, he's hanging out with people that are cleaning pig pens or sucking out porta potties or something like that.
Or houseboats.
Yeah. And he was like, those people are happy. And he's like, it's because what they do is, so he's like, kids now are taught to find something of meaning and then find a job that's in that. Mm-hmm. And he's like, the people that I met that are actually happy and stay happy forever are the people who find a job and then find a way to make meaning in that job.
Yeah.
So like you're working at a factory, but then you find a way to make it interesting, find a way to make it relevant to you. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good way to think.
It kind of sounds like the path that I followed, because
I didn't. I kept trying to find a job that I was just passionate about. I want to find the one that I just don't even need to get paid. I love it so much.
Accounting?
Then I settled for accounting, which is quite the opposite.
Yeah. But no, like let's see. So if you're not familiar with me, I went to college, but I never, like, I don't have a degree, like, I don't have a certificate or anything. And what's funny is I'd gone in for mechanical electrical. I was going to get a degree in mechanical electrical or a certificate. I don't remember what it was at the time. And I dropped out because everybody that was in that class that was there for like relearning or higher education, they all worked in a factory. And I was like, you know, I was young. I was like 18, 19. I was like, I don't want to work in a factory my whole life. So I dropped out, then did construction for, I don't know, 5 to 7 years. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Then I got a job at a factory as an electrician. And then I moved from that factory to another factory. And yeah, I worked in a factory. And young me didn't realize that factory work didn't mean necessarily you're on the floor doing, you know, the production line stuff. I had no idea that there were other areas within the factory. Like, I don't know, I was probably just too young and dumb.
Yeah.
But, and I, you know, just doing that stuff before I left the factory, I was actually doing electrical engineering technician work, which if I would have just probably stayed in college, I could have gotten there a lot faster. But
yeah, but who knows? You may have been in a job where you're sitting at a desk working CAD or something.
It's true. I really did enjoy what I was doing there, but I also really enjoy what I'm doing now too. So
yeah, now you're a programmer.
Yep.
But yeah, that's I was thinking about it too with me. Like if I could have made real money as a janitor, I would have stayed a janitor forever. Like it's one of those jobs that it's not bad as long as you can take it. Like the work is not hard. It's just nasty. And if you can't take the nasty, then you're done. If you can take the nasty, it's no big deal. And then you find a job that no one else wants to do that's very stable. I mean, no one's going to take away your scraping poop off of dang. The best one, scraping boogers off of toilet rooms or bathroom stalls. Because I don't know why, there's toilet paper right there and a big hole full of water that flushes it right down the drain. Why, when you pick your nose at the toilet, the first response is, well, let me wipe it on the wall.
Yeah. Or like if you're standing there at a urinal, just wipe it on the inside of the basin. Come on.
I just wipe it on myself as I'm going. But no, like at the factory where I work now, they finally cleaned them. But at one point, there were boogers all over the wall in the stall, and they painted over them.
That's pretty bad.
So it looked like a textured wall. It looked like someone had sprayed knockdown all over the inside of the stall.
But only in this one area.
Yeah, but an area like this, right next to the toilet. And you're just like, you guys are serious? You couldn't get a paint scraper and scrape all of this off beforehand? What's the deal?
Yeah, I will say the factory I worked at, they tried very hard to keep their bathrooms clean.
Oh, we try to as well. But like what was it 3 or 4 years ago? We repainted all the bathrooms. 2 days, like they put like a big racing stripe on the wall or something. It was just dumb looking, but they tried to make it pretty. Within 3 days, someone had taken that racing stripe paint and had picked at it until this much of it was gone. So it was just like, we can't even give you guys nice things. You tear it up.
Maybe your factory workers were just more immature than my factory workers.
Oh, ours were awful.
Mine were pretty bad too.
I think every factory has those.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the guys that get, well, guys and girls that get stuck like in that arrested development. Like they can't go past being 20.
Yeah.
It's like they're 38 years old and they still act like a 21-year-old. Mm-hmm. That's where they end up.
Yeah. I think the grossest thing I remember seeing at the factory in the bathroom
Of course,
when I worked there.
We also have Amish people, which are, I mean, they're just Amish people. So, like, you get all types at a factory. That's what I kind of like.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have any Amish that I know of at the one I worked at. But anyway, the grossest thing I remember seeing in those bathrooms was somebody had wiped, but then they just took it and slapped it on the bottom side of the bowl of the toilet. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Oh, no, I've seen that before, yeah.
I'm like, what? And like, I understand why a lot of them do that sort of stuff. It's like they're mad at, that they have to work here. They're like, I'm going to stick it to them. But it's like, they're not ever, like the people that you're mad at, that you're trying to get back at, they're never even going to know.
Yeah, they're not going to this bathroom.
Because you're just making it harder for the other person who's, same level, pretty close to the same level as you. They got to now clean up your mess.
They were going to stick it to the man, but instead they stuck it to the bowl.
Yeah. It had been there long enough where I actually took a Sharpie and drew on the bowl with an arrow pointing down to it so that they would know. Because I'm like, they're going to see the Sharpie and be like, I need to clean this up.
They probably still didn't, did they?
Pretty soon after I put that on there, it was all cleaned up.
That's funny.
Because I'm sure they wiped. They're like, oh, what idiot put a Sharpie on here? And then they found, the surprise underneath.
No, I'll tell you what it is, because I've worked with enough janitors. They saw the Sharpie and they're like, dang it, someone's pointing it out now.
God, now I have to clean it.
I worked with a lady one time, and she was like, she was training me because I was at a new job as a janitor. We were walking around. She goes into one of the bathrooms, and she's like, and they always wipe their boogers on the stalls. And I was like, yeah. She's like, I ain't cleaning those up. That's not my job. And I'm like, you're the janitor. What do you think your job is? If someone comes in that bathroom, squats, and takes a dump square in the middle of the room, guess whose job it is to pick that thing up? Yours.
Yeah. I only do pee-pees and poo-poos.
Yeah. If there's any kind of biological material, I'm not doing anything. I'm just here to wipe mirrors down.
Oh, that's how she was?
No, that's not how she was.
Okay. I was going to say.
Well, she might have been. She was kind of like no one liked when she liked working after her because she never cleaned. She was kind of lazy. Like, well, when you have people that are lazy, but they justify it like that?
Yeah.
Like it's like they won't clean the boogers off the wall when they're a janitor. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, I'm not doing that. That's not my job. And it's like, or, it's, well, no, that so-and-so did that. They need to clean it up, not me. It's like, your job is to clean up messes. Clean up the mess. Mm-hmm. It's like, just because you keep saying that it's not your job doesn't mean it's not your job.
Right.
I always love those people. I don't know. I think too many people, well, and that's the thing. If you go in with your passion, like you go in, this is what I want. I want to be a teacher. That's what I want to be. Half the time, they don't realize that when you do a job, like even if your job was playing video games professionally, after about 2 years, you wake up in the morning and say, oh, man, I got to play video games today. Because you know why? It's a job.
Yep.
No matter what you do, it becomes a job.
Yeah, even if it's something you love, it's going to get old at some point.
You have to be either just bonkers crazy about it. Like I could see a Lance Armstrong person like loving cycling, that being their passion and doing it, and it doesn't feel like a job because even if they weren't working, that's what they would be doing with all their free time anyway.
Right.
But even if video games is what you do with your free time, it no longer is like, you go home, just enjoy some video games. It's like, okay, you have 12 hours to beat this entire game top to bottom. Make sure you get every trophy. Make sure you get into every nook and cranny, find all the secrets.
Yeah, it becomes a job.
And then write a 10-page paper about it. It's like, oh, well, this is less fun.
Yeah.
When you start getting paid for it, there's parameters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even if you're doing like the YouTube stuff, like the Twitch, it's like if you can get on there and people are basically paying to watch you play a video game.
Right.
But then you have to do it regularly or people stop watching. So like if you're sick, if you have something going on, like you can't, I think some of those guys can kind of take breaks, but a lot of those guys play every single day. And if they weren't playing every single day, they'd lose probably half their followers.
Yeah. That'd get annoying. Because you'd be like, oh, I want to do something different today, but I can't because this is what makes my money.
Yeah. That's the problem. Like if you could just win the lottery and just have, $20 million in the bank, you never have to ever worry about money again.
Oh, yeah. As long as you don't get stupid with it.
Right. Like if you just live the way you're living right now, but you have $20 million in the bank, which would last you and your kids probably for the rest of their lives.
Oh, yeah.
Then, yeah, you could do that. And then you can just be like, I'm going to take a week off. And it's like, you're going to lose half your people. I don't really need them.
Yeah. I'm not doing it for them.
Yeah. I think that's what everyone thinks the goal is when you find your passion and you do it for a job is that like you'll hit that point of where you're just like, I don't even care if there's money. But then you want to buy a computer or your car breaks or you got to pay for that car or the gas for that car or the insurance for that car. And you're just like, oh, well, I guess I do care what they think.
Yeah. At one point or another, it will become that job.
Mm-hmm. There will be a bill looming over your head.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to get that bill, you're going to have to do something you don't want to do. It'd be cool. But if there's some way we could make this into a job.
I thought this was an interview.
We're going to hire you. We pay $10 a year.
Oh.
We have inverse benefits, so you pay for my benefits. And you're hired.
Must be one of those new age things.
Or you can go out to, I would like to work like just a year in like West Coast tech. That would have to be a trip. Like go out to Google or Amazon or one of those places where they have all these crazy desks and offices and stuff, and like the middle of the room there's like fake grass and a fake tree with a swing in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean that's got to be an interesting way to work. Like, I don't know that. I think they're a little too lefty for me that I would end up just going bonkers.
I've heard it's pretty.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm
toxic.
I'm pretty middle of the road, but like I feel like those would be the kind of folks that have no idea what they're talking about, yet have exceptionally strong views on everything.
Oh yeah.
And I can't deal. I can't deal for long with that. Let me see if I can find one of those places. This is the one. Dublin's the one. Okay, I gotta move my mic so I can get over here closer to see it.
Oh, Google Dublin.
See, like there's one of the offices.
Google's Dublin? Is that possible?
But there's one of the offices.
It's like a cave.
Yeah,
it's
like
an
a cave.
Office. It's awful dark in there.
There's like the lobby.
It looks like a play place.
They do. They look like a adult play place, not like a dirty bookstore adult play place, but like a.
How'd you like to be the janitor there? Because you got to get all those weird nooks and crannies. I mean, I would hope that these people are cleaner than normal.
I was gonna say these people would either be super duper clean or super duper dirty.
Yeah.
I guarantee it's one or the other. They're not gonna be somewhere in the middle.
I feel like the dirty wouldn't necessarily be like they are dirty people. They're just snooty and feel like they don't have to clean anything.
Like wad up their candy wrapper and just drop it on the floor.
Almost like I'm better than you. Hey, you, come clean this up.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the kind of people that tip a nickel. Yeah. Like they're not even just not leaving a tip. They're like actively giving you the finger.
Yeah.
See, like there's a break room.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, but it's
it's got to be semi weird. It's got to be a trip to work at a place like that.
Oh yeah.
I just can't imagine that it wouldn't be. Those places pay good too. It's amazing.
That's what I hear.
Yeah,
That's what they keep telling me, but they won't leave me alone.
Yeah, they start out like triple what they would start out someone around here or more, which is just bonkers to me. I mean, you'll hire someone out of college and pay them over $100,000 starting, which I get. It's more expensive out there. It's like a lot more expensive out there.
It is a lot more expensive out there.
But still, that's a whole lot of money.
Yeah, I remember reading some, like, I guess, horror articles of people working out there where, like, they'd make $100,000, but they couldn't hardly afford a place to live. Mm-hmm. And the company provides, like, lunch and breakfast for free. Mm-hmm. But then they were getting in trouble because they were taking food home because they couldn't afford to buy food for their house.
Well, it's funny. There's a guy, one of the guys that works at Grants Pass. I talked to him quite a bit. He's the analyst out there. Anyway, I just like giving him a hard time because he's looking to buy a house right now. He's saving up, and he's in Oregon, so that's expensive. Like, it's expensive out there. And he's like, "Yeah, saving up for a house, almost got enough." I was like, "Well," and I'll tell him what I paid for my house, and he's just like, "I hate you." What I paid for this house would not even buy you like a shanty there.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Whenever I was on my annual training when I was in the military, on those they pull people in from all over.
Yeah.
So there was this one girl who she was a realtor out in New Jersey, like the city.
It's expensive out there too.
And she was talking about her job, and I was like, I am very curious as to how much my house would cost out there. So I described it to her, and she was like, "Oh, that's easily like a $350,000 house." And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't pay anywhere close to that." Like I told her how much I spent on it, and she was like, "I feel like I could." She said that she could buy my house, pick it up, and pay for all the fees to move it across country and put it down, and she would still make money on it.
Probably. I was going to say, I mean, it's just bonkers what they go for. Well, it's like.
It's where it's at. It's the location.
Well, and you got to think, those areas over in the, like, Northeast, especially if you're in a city, they're so dense. They're so densely populated that space is premium. Like, if you can find anything, I mean, you could get an apartment that is just this room, and it would be more per month than my house.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. I mean, it's probably 3 times more than my house, and that's probably still easy.
Well, yeah, the cost for my mortgage is less than my brother-in-law who lives up in Michigan, and he's in the city. He's probably like suburb areas, and he lives in it's like a converted, I wouldn't say bathhouse. It's right by a lake, which that raises the price right there. But I mean, it's definitely no bigger than your basement. And it is run down, and he pays more for renting his place than.
I remember someone telling me they were excited because they got an apartment in Chicago near Wrigleyville, and they were excited because they got a really good deal on it. I was just curious, like how much. It was somewhere between $1,200 and $1,800 a month, and I was like, man, that's crazy. I was like, because I want to say it was like $1,200 or $1,600 a month, but even if it was $1,200, let's just go with the low end. I was just like, $1,200 a month. I was like, that is a ton. And she's like, well, I mean, that's my half of it. And I was like, oh my gosh. So they were paying at least $2,400 for a 2-bedroom apartment. $2,400 a month.
Yeah, Amber will talk about like friends and people she knows from back in where she grew up. She grew up in L.A., like L.A. County. So
yeah, like L.A. proper.
Yeah. So like, yeah, a small like apartment this size would be like, the size of this room would be like $1,000. And that's a good deal.
And what's funny is it's like Chicago, because when I would try to go to Chicago, I could have probably got about $20,000 a year more, maybe $10,000 a year more moving to Chicago. Maybe $10,000. It's probably more like $10,000.
Yeah,
But then you look at how much it costs to rent, and you're talking like a 1-bedroom apartment is at least $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not getting that much more money.
Yeah. And then you also have to pay for your parking.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's me is like, you'd think, okay, at least I'm in a building, they own the building, I'll get to park at the building. And they're like, oh no, we don't have parking.
Yeah, and you have to pay for a space.
It's like 3 blocks away from your house, like 3 Chicago blocks away from your house, and then that place is like that spot's like $200 a month.
Yep, and those are 3 whole blocks you could get stabbed in too.
Yeah, I got to ride the train to get to my car so I can commute to work.
It reminds me of Futurama when Fry's like, oh, he was talking about cars. Or he said that his girlfriend had this specific car. And then Leela's like, oh, so you had, you drove in New York? He's like, oh, nobody drove. There was too many cars.
Pretty much. I just always think of that Seinfeld where, I think this was in the 90s, and like George was freaking out because Jerry knew someone that could get him a parking space in the city for $200 a month. Oh. He's like, 200, that's hardly anything. I'm just like, 200 a month for just like a 10-foot square of concrete.
Yeah, that feels like a lot now.
Yeah, that's more than I'd pay now for it. Of course, the first time I ever, I'd been to St. Louis and places like that where you'd pay for, I feel like St. Louis has gotten worse on parking, actually charging you, because used to it felt like you go to a meter and put in $1.50 and you're good for whatever you're doing. Whereas now it's just like Chicago. You got to go to a building and pay $8 for half a day or something. But I remember the first time I went to Chicago and I had to pay $15 for a parking spot for the day. And I was just like, they're charging me for parking in a building? And this building's here. I mean, I just park myself. And they're like, yeah, you got to pay for it. You pay for parking everywhere. I've never paid $15 for parking except at Six Flags, and that's because I know they're ripping me off.
Yeah, that reminds. Well, just recently I was in Texas to visit my aunt and uncle. We went to downtown San Antonio we went to see the Alamo, and unfortunately it was when we planned ahead. I don't know how we messed it up, but neither of us realized it was Easter weekend, so it was packed, and yeah, we had to pay for parking, $20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the worst one I ever had for parking, and we didn't see it. We were going to go, but then when we saw the parking costs, we didn't go. I went to see Adam over in Indiana when they had the Super Bowl at Indianapolis.
Yeah.
We weren't going to go to the Super Bowl, but because Indianapolis went all out for that. They blocked off 3 blocks of downtown, and they had zip lines, and they had all these stands out. And there was music constantly, and it was free, for the most part. I mean, you could get some of it cost money, I think, but you just walked down there and had fun. And we were going to go because we were like, we could just go to a bar, drink a beer, watch it on the TV, just kind of be there with the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And we were getting packed up, getting ready to go, and we were watching the TV to see, what the traffic was like, what was going on. And then we saw where it was all the parking places are full, but they're starting to park farther out where you can get a tram to the station. I'm like, a tram wouldn't be bad. And they're like, and they were like, and they're only charging $120 a parking spot. And I'm just like, what? No, let's just watch it on TV.
For a day?
Yeah. No, it's just like, no, we're not paying. I refuse to let you pay for $100 for us to go to a parking space.
Yeah.
Just so we can go to a bar outside the stadium and watch it on TV.
Yeah. I'm not going to let you pay $115 to.
Yeah. Well, it's like, we would have gone up there to do that, and we've been drinking a beer or something or two, and they would have hiked those up too. So those things are probably 12 or $13 a beer. So you're talking $26 a person plus $100 whatever for the parking spot. By the end of it, you'd be $200 or $300 in just to go watch a show or watch a game on a TV.
Yeah, I could do that for free at my house.
And that's what we did. That was fun though. I need to go see Adam again. I haven't seen him for a while. Well, he came over, I guess, a few weeks ago because he was over for
Easter.
Yeah, he was here for Easter. That's what it was.
I was not here for Easter.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out which weekend it was. It was Easter. He came over and we hung out. It was a good time. But should we take a little break? It's been an hour.
Yeah, should probably take a little breather.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we'll be right back.
I'll see you.
Hey, I'll do this for Brad. After these messages, we'll be right back. Yeehaw.
Meow.
Hey, everybody, we're back. Hey. That guy was great in UHF because he was just like you could tell it was just maybe he was like a guy holding a boom mic or something because he was just this chubby looking older fella. And the way he delivered his line was just awful. He just literally runs in, head down, doesn't look at anything, just goes, hey, everybody, we're back, and turns around and runs off before he finishes the sentence. Supplies.
Yeah, that reminds me of a guy when I worked at the factory. He came in and he was asking for somebody because he had something specific he wanted for him. He came in, he's like, hey, is I don't know, say, hey, is Kent here? It's like, no, he's not. What do you need? And then he proceeded to tell me what he was needed from him. But while he did that, he turned around and started walking out the door while he was telling me what he needed. So I didn't catch at all what he said. It just sounded like mumbles because he was facing the wrong direction and he was leaving. So I was like, all right.
People are awesome. Oh man, we should sit down and watch that movie sometime again. See if it still holds up.
Yeah, it's one of those. I want to rewatch it, but I'm afraid
It won't be as good.
Yeah.
I think it will be. I don't think it will be as good, but I think it'll still be great.
Yeah. I just hope it's not like the Thumb movies.
Oh, those didn't hold up well.
No. I remember whenever we had them, they were hilarious. Then we rewatched them. It's like, oh, this is pretty awful.
Yeah, like all the parts you laughed at before, you were sitting there like, oh yeah, I laughed at this. Why didn't I laugh this time?
Yeah, why was this hilarious? I don't remember.
I want my giggle back. There were still some good lines in there,
there's
though.
still some one-liners in there.
My name is Ooby Dooby.
Your name is Ooby Dooby Kanoopy?
Yeah. It was like Ooby Dooby, or it was Scooby Dooby, Ooby Dooby Kanooby. One and the same.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. They were great. I take back what I said.
I suspect that the Kung Pao would still hold up.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a lot of nuts. We need to watch that movie again. That was a
good one. I just remember, do you remember the hidden, there was a hidden like option on the main menu where if you went to a certain spot, like you selected, it was like a hidden item and you click it and it just took a clip of where he was fighting that cow and he was flicking the cow's nipple. Mm-hmm. It's like there was just some random hidden scene in the main menu.
Oh, I still like the guy. Hey, like my what was it? Your face or
my face to your foot technique. Yeah. He was just constantly getting beat up, and he's like, "That's my fighting style."
That movie was a genius.
Yeah.
That lady.
Yeah.
Like where she's gonna show him her boobs or whatever. And she like keeps like, I want to shape, but I don't. But I do, but I don't. Like it's like 8 times. She like almost opens it, then shuts it.
Yeah. Probably rewatch that one.
I still want to watch the new Sherlock Holmes, the Will Ferrell one.
Yeah. I didn't. Well, I thought I heard it wasn't that great, but
I'm sure it wasn't.
I don't know.
But neither was Talladega Nights or Step Brothers. But they were fantastic.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
They weren't good, but they were fun.
I thought Anchorman was pretty good.
Yeah. Anchorman 2 was a little bit of a letdown.
I didn't even know there was an Anchorman 2.
Yeah, it wasn't. There was an epic scene where they have like the fight against all the...
Oh, did they try to recreate?
Yeah, but they like went a step above, and it had like every single person in it was a famous person. And that part made it funny, but like it was totally
over the top.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just try too hard.
Why are you sweating? Just watching Cops. Cops didn't come on until 4:30. You were touching my drums, weren't you? Like I like that he knows exactly when Cops comes on, and it's not weird to him that he's like, I'm sweating because I was watching Cops. Like I watch Cops.
That wasn't in question.
Yeah. Well, of course, that's what happens.
Yeah, who doesn't get sweaty when they're watching Cops?
I still love when they go in the tuxedos to the interview with Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
And he thinks it's hilarious that one of them farts. It's like, oh, that was you? And it's like, yeah, that was me. It's like, okay, now the tuxedos aren't funny. They're just kind of weird now. Back when Seth Rogen was funny.
Yeah.
Think he's really related to Joe Rogan?
More than likely. One thing I've found over the years is if people have the same last name, they are always related.
If they're not, someone's still going to ask, you're related to blah, blah. What I love is the people that, and they'll be like, oh, I'm from Chicago. It's, oh, you're from Chicago. My cousin lives in Chicago. Do you know him? It's like, there's multiple million people in this town. No.
Yeah. Well, what you got to do is you got to take it a step further. Like if you meet somebody named Brett, be like, oh,
I have a friend named Brett.
yeah, my cousin's Brett. Are we related?
That would be fantastic. The best part would be to do it after someone said something stupid like, "Oh, you related to blah blah blah," and then when it's like, "Oh, my name's Smith," it's like, "Oh, are you related to my friend Brad Smith?" It's like, "No." And then you go up and be like, "Oh, but your name's John. You related to John Elway?" It's like, what? So here's a question for you. You did like maintenance and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and like construction. And is there jokes that you've said to people that were funny for people in your field, but then if anyone else heard it, it's just not funny at all?
Maybe. I mean, I guess in construction they have, they'll do the typical go send them for a tool that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like carpenters, they use like board stretcher. Oh, you got to go get the board stretcher. This one's too this one's too short. Or the hydraulic tape measure. Or even like in the Navy, I know for boiler techs, they'd tell the new ones that come on board, be like, "Oh, we need a bucket of steam. You need to go get a bucket of steam." And in the military, they're all in on the joke. It's one of those where as soon as somebody shows up asking for it, they all know what's going on. So then they play along with it. And they're like, "Oh, no, you're in the wrong area. You got to go on the other side of the ship to get it."
I know someone that had a girlfriend who wasn't the brightest, and he told her to go to AutoZone to get headlight fluid. And the guy at AutoZone like caught on instantly. Like, he's a quick dude. And he's like, "Oh man, we're all out. You might try O'Reilly's," but and then he like went through, like he kept her there for like 10 minutes just going on with it. I was like, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. I was just thinking because I had a good one today at work, but then I realized it's only good for accountants. Because we were talking about where someone had capitalized a bunch of like picnic tables and stuff like that. So like they're depreciating over 10 years. So it's like $1 a year. And my response was like, it's like when you talk to that guy, you're like, do you just hate the future? Because like then you got to go find it, and everyone in the future that has to deal with this problem is like, okay, now I've got to go find 400 picnic tables that are made out of wood and probably have been thrown away. The accountants laughed. No one else did. And then I realized, oh, that's not funny for anyone but us.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I'm still pretty new into the programming.
I figure there's probably some in programming.
Yeah, there are some that definitely could be set in there, like, I don't know, like putting a null value, and that one's definitely be more visual. But like whenever I worked in the factory, I worked with a machinist, and I would always, people would come in, and we were in the same office, and the office was pretty long, so the machinist actually had his tools in the same room, but they were distant enough where most of the time chips weren't getting thrown on my desk. But it was a clean, sanitary room, so he didn't have to worry about like metal dust getting on his machines. Well, anyway, people would come in, and if he wasn't there, they'd look at me and be like, "Oh, hey, I need to, machine this down, blah, blah, blah." And they look at me and talk to me like I know exactly what needs to be done. But I'd been around the machinist enough, or been around him long enough to know most of the terminology, and enough to like get them off track to where they'd be like, "Wait a second, this isn't right."
That's
like,
awesome.
You got to start off slow, so what you're telling them is correct, and then you slowly turn it into something that is absurd. And you just got to slowly crank it up. I just like to see how far I can go before they catch on.
Yeah. Of course, it's always fun too to like just try to confuse people in general.
Oh yeah.
So like use something like what was it? I thought I had one today. I can't remember what it was, but someone says something, and then you use just like I forget. I used a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush or something like that, but it was over something that made absolutely no sense for. And like you say it, then walk out of the room, and everyone just kind of stops, and they're just like, "What the heck does that mean?" Those are always fun too.
Yeah. Yeah, using just common sayings in the wrong...
Like totally the wrong way. Because at first they'll like be like, "Oh yeah," and then it's like they say, "Oh yeah," because they've heard it, and it's familiar, but then after about 3 seconds after it actually hits their brain. Then they're just like, now wait.
Yeah. There was, when I worked in construction, there was one guy who would like to say stuff like, well, you know what they say, half a dozen in one hand, 67 in the other. Be like, what?
That's I may use that one. Of course, we were talking outside earlier about like mispronouncing words and seeing how long it takes for people to like catch on.
Oh, yeah.
So like, who's your number one fan? Like, always switch out, either add an R or switch an R with like an M or something.
Yeah, I'm pulling a Steve Brule on him.
Yeah. Bringo.
Well, if you do a lot of text, which I wouldn't put this in a program, but like in an email or something, I like to every now and then switch on an M with an RN, put them right next to each other, and people sometimes stumble on it, but yeah, most of the time it goes unnoticed. But.
That's funny. I always think of like the Futurama where Fry has the bureaucrat that is trying to date him or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, what's with this hat full of yogurt? And she's like, well, it used to be milk, but time makes fools of us all. That's such a good show.
It is. That's one of my favorites.
I mean, it's one of those ones you can just kind of, like, you don't have anything else to watch. You're just laying in bed with the TV and you just turn it on to that. And
Oh, yeah.
you don't need to pay attention because you've seen it enough times, but it still makes you laugh. Mm-hmm. I need to, like, go through and just watch Simpsons. I didn't watch much of that show. And they had some great ones.
Yeah, they're still on, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's pretty absurd, actually.
I would imagine they've got to quit before too awfully long. Like, they've got to be starting to run out of, like, it's got to start, it has to be a kind of a grind for those people at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Like, those people are probably like, man, we've been doing this for 30 years. It's time to, like, retire.
Well, I thought I remembered, like, it was probably 5 years ago where it sounded like they were going to quit because the voice actors were like, we want more money. And they're like, we're maxed out. We can't give you any more.
Well, I feel like it'd be one of those deals, too, where you're just like, give us more money or we'll quit. It's like, we can't. We'll shut the show down. I really don't care. I don't want to do this anymore.
That's kind of what happened with Friends, wasn't it? I think they were all making like $1 million an episode, weren't they?
I don't think it was $1 million, but it was probably lots.
Maybe it was $1 million per episode.
I was going to say,
like the whole show. I don't know.
Well, I just remember when Jerry Seinfeld was like the highest paid sitcom guy, he was getting $1 million an episode. So I mean, it may have been like 800,000 an episode or something. But
yeah, I know it was. Well, there's a lot more of them than
yeah,
what's on the main characters of Seinfeld. So
yeah, that would be
well, 2 more, I guess. That's not.
You know, I never was into that show that much. I should go back and watch it. I mean, I know
Friends?
I know a lot of people were really into that show.
I really liked it, but I don't know how I would like it now.
Well, I always got annoyed with Jennifer Aniston and then I guess Ross, whatever.
Oh yeah,
like those two just annoyed the crap out of me.
They're probably the 2 worst characters on there.
I watched it for.
They were the drama most of the time, which is like we're guys, we don't really care for drama.
I liked Lisa Kudrow. I forget her character's name. Phoebe,
yeah.
I liked her, Chandler, and Joey.
Yeah.
Like if they just had a show with them on it, and then just occasionally the others would walk in, just so you'd kind of break the joke monotony.
Yeah.
That would have been fantastic for me.
Yeah. Which I think they tried to do a spinoff with Joey,
Yeah,
but it did not do very well.
It did awful. I think it just had some good jokes on there. Yeah. I just remember the one where like Rachel walks out of the bathroom and doesn't know everyone's there, and she's like naked. And Chandler was there. I was the only one. She thought everyone was gone. And he sees her naked, and like she's freaking out. And she like grabs a blanket and puts it over herself, but it's like a knitted thing. And he's like, "That's knitted. I can still see everything." They had like great jokes like that. I don't know. I think I would appreciate it more now because my humor's like more in line with that type of humor now. But
Yeah.
I don't know how well it hold up like being a '90s show. And
Yeah, I don't know.
like sometimes, like Seinfeld still has great episodes, but they had some stinkers. Like
Yeah.
I didn't realize because we always watched it in syndication. We always watched it when it was reruns on, like after the news or whatever. And they only played the good ones. Actually, they only played about 20 episodes. They just kept playing the same ones over and over and over again.
Oh.
And then you go through and watch. There were some that were better, or some that you forget about. But then there were some that were just not great. Like you just sit there and it's almost like a cringe, like a Tim and Eric cringe type stuff where it's supposed to be embarrassing, but you're just like, oh, it's not funny. I just can't watch it.
Yeah. I've actually not seen very many episodes of Seinfeld.
They had some good ones. I still like the one where Kramer was, he figured out that he could tan with butter.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty popular one because
Then Newman's
I know that one.
freaking out. Keeps smelling it. And he's like,
yeah, it looks like a turkey or whatever.
Yeah, and he's like, ah! Oh, so Ryan and I went to Buffalo Wild Wings last night, and his wife wanted him to come. When he came back, she wanted him to bring DQ ice cream back. So he got like a quart, like a thing. And I was like, I always forget you could buy it.
Just ice cream in a quart.
Yeah.
Yeah. They mass produce it.
Why didn't I like? They just take out like a quart container and just fill it up out of the soft serve machine and like put a lid on it and hand it to you. And I just, for some reason, never crossed my mind that they did that. But the guy that gave it to us sounded just like Kermit the Frog, like identical. He's like, "Here's your ice cream. Have a good evening." It's like. As we're driving off, we're like, was that guy putting us on? Like, was he just bored and doing voices, or was that...
Is that guy messing with us?
Because, like, me, if I had to work a window job, 100% I would be doing that. I'd probably get fired for it, really, because I would get so bored just sitting there being, hey, have a good day. Here's money. Here's your food. Thank you. Have a good day. After a while, I'd just be like, hi. Can I take your order? Cross your eyes, be like, I'm having a good day.
Yeah, you'd probably get in trouble pretty quick for stuff like that. But no, the Kermit the Frog thing, that reminds me, when I worked in the factory, there was a guy who, the other coworkers kidded with him a lot. They said he sounded like Kermit the Frog. So, kind of a higher pitched, nasally type voice, just like Kermit the Frog. And he's single, so he's always, trying to get dates with girls, but he's also the type that's really particular. Like he's desperate for a girl, but he's got a specific set of, ideals that she has to meet or it's just a no-go. And there's, I guess, this one girl that was pretty cute, seemed like she had a good personality, but he didn't want to date her because he's like, her voice is pretty nasally. They're like, dude, have you heard yourself?
Yeah.
Like, you sound like Kermit the Frog.
That's where I look at him and be like, did she go, well, hello, Kermit? I don't think you probably, I don't know if you've watched it or not, but have you seen like anything with Trailer Park Boys?
No, I don't think I have.
And there's a character on, you've probably seen pictures of it at least.
Bubbles or whatever?
Yeah, and he's got the big thick glasses.
Yeah.
There is a dude at work who looks just like a 40-year-old Bubbles. He's a really nice guy. I've talked to him. It's just that's exactly who he looks like, and it makes me laugh every time. I started watching that show. It's okay. It's got some decent jokes. It's pretty coarse, but
yeah, it looks like it. Well, I've seen like ads for their game on my phone, and I'm like, okay.
That's a weird move for them. Like that seems like I get the Family Guy doing their game. But I feel like Trailer Park Boys. That's just that's a stretch. I mean, I guess everyone's doing it now. Game of Thrones has one.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that show?
Nope.
Never watched a single episode.
Me neither.
I mean, I feel like I would like to watch an episode just to see what all the hype was about, but
yeah, it sounds like everybody was pretty upset with how it ended.
Yeah.
Which I'm unclear, but I think I know what happens. Which I'm not. Everybody seems to always get upset with like spoilers and stuff, and I've never had issues with spoilers. Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm pretty sure there's been times where I've watched a movie with you and it's my first time and you've seen it before. Mm-hmm. And you're like, dude, watch this movie. It's awesome. Just wait for the twist at the end. I'm like, well, what is it? Just tell me. You're like, I'm not ruining it.
Yeah. And you're like,
I'm like, I don't care. Just tell me.
It's not going to ruin it. It's going to save me time is what it's going to
do.
Yeah,
it does. It literally does not bother me at all. I don't know.
That's funny. It's weird though. That's strange. Like most people, it really bothers.
Yeah, I don't.
It's like, no, you ruined it. Don't tell me the end. Don't tell me the twist on Sixth Sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's my anxiety. Like, I'd rather know what's going to happen so I'm not surprised and anxious during the movie what's going to happen next.
There you go. Hey,
That might be what it is.
you don't have to worry about that anxiety for too much longer with all that legal green floating around here for too much
true.
longer.
I hear that helps calm you down.
Your beard's going to be in dreadlocks before 2020.
I don't know. That might be annoying to deal with.
Oh, that would be awful. It would look like you have a bunch of turds hanging off your face, too.
I think the feeling would be worse.
Well, and like, you know, like a beard, even when it's not big lumps, like when you talk, you can kind of feel it wobble.
Yeah.
I can't imagine having a giant pendulums on it wouldn't make it like horrible.
Yeah. I know, like, if it's the only time I really notice, like, that it's there is if it's really windy outside, I can feel it blowing my beard. And then other times, like, Amber thinks it's weird. But, like, if I'm, like, laying down in bed looking at my phone, it's big enough where it gets in the way. So I'll take it and, like, tuck it under my chin. She's like, what are you doing? Like, it's in the way. Also, people get really grossed out if I just take it and shove it into my mouth.
When you word it that way, it just sounds awful. Like you're just sitting in the line at the grocery store, just like nom nom nom.
What? But I don't see what so girls will like chew on their hair.
That's gross too, though.
Well, I guess I never thought it was gross, but okay.
That's funny.
It's natural dental floss.
Oh
You have
gosh,
some food stuck in your teeth, you just
I just
grab
like
one of the longer ones and floss it in there and get it out.
when I had a beard, just eating tons of chili and stuff like that. And when you get all the cheese and meat and stuff in your beard, then you can chew on it. It's flavorful.
I think the hardest thing to clean out of my beard that I've gotten was
Cheese?
runny eggs.
Oh yes,
That was probably the worst.
I think I ended up when I had the beard. I think I ended up just stopping with runny yolks. 'Cause
Yeah.
you just can't do it.
I finally gotten to the point where I can eat them without getting it in my beard, and that's
That's a level up right there.
it takes it takes a while to get to the point where you don't get your beard and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, then you got to because then it, like with the egg, it gets in there, then it hardens.
Oh yeah, that's
And then you're like trying to pull it out and it's like, it just like smears. It doesn't come out. So you have to
Yeah.
get like a comb or something nearly and just like scrape it out.
It ends up being, I would say, almost the consistency of like boogers that
Yeah.
you're trying to pull off of hair. So like
so
you
it just
gotta
like keeps getting stuck.
so yeah,
It's
say
like,
you got a
come
nice
on.
booger stuck on a nose hair. It's like that, only a bunch of it on your chin.
It's all your face hair.
I'd say that probably the grossest thing I've gotten in my beard was Gideon spit up in my beard one time.
Oh.
So
Remember that video, the guy that was like wiggling the pipe?
yeah, you talked about that. I think the last one. They might not hear it, so
Yeah, it was like three or four stories of
yeah.
backed up sewage drain just went right into his beard. Like,
Yeah.
that guy's not coming to work with a beard tomorrow.
Nope, you gotta shave that off. I would shave it off.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'll just grow another one, I guess, but I'm not keeping this one.
Yeah. Be like, sorry, hon, I'm shaving everything, even the eyelashes, they're gone.
Eyebrows, everything else. Look like you just popped out of a pod in the Matrix.
It'll look like powder.
Yeah. You look like powder already.
Oh, okay. I am pretty pale. You remember that movie?
I never saw it.
I don't remember if I saw it or I know my sister, pretty sure my sister really liked it. I'd seen scenes of it at least. That guy was pretty pale. Pretty bald too.
That's
That's really all I remember.
Yeah, I don't even know what that movie was about.
I don't remember. I feel like something to do with lightning at the end. Like he died. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm mixing movies.
There's a bunch of those movies that were like edgy and weird at the time that everyone talked about and I never saw. Like I never saw Memento.
What about Phenomenon? Is that one?
That was like a John Travolta movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think I saw that one. It's been a while.
Well, he was an angel in that one. Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
What was some of the other ones? Like it took me a while to see Sixth Sense. Let's see, what were some other ones?
See, I liked that. See, I like suspenseful movies. And that one wasn't too... The only gore part of that was where I think that little kid looked like he got shot in the back of the head.
Yeah.
That hamburger.
Well, that was like the first M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah.
And he had fantastic twists,
Oh, yeah.
but then some of his movies, like, basically he didn't write a very good story. He just kind of built up to a crazy twist. Like I remember when The Village came out, everyone was nuts over that. And that was a fantastic twist too. Mm-hmm. It was an okay story. It wasn't the best, but it was okay. Sixth Sense had a great story with a wonderful twist.
Yeah.
Then you had like The Happening. And that was just effing train wreck.
Yeah, I remember that one. That one was. Did that have Mark Wahlberg in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Run away from the plants.
It's the plants.
Like I remember talking to Nick about it, and like he thought it was awful too. And the scene he liked the least, and after he described it, I was like, that is absolutely hilarious. And like, the stuff's in the wind, and that's what's killing everyone or whatever. And so they're in a field just like running, like looking behind them like they're being chased by a monster. And then the camera goes back and it's just the wind. It's just like, and they're just running from quite literally nothing.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be suspenseful, but then you're just like, it's the wind.
Yeah. I'm not really sure what's going on here, but no, it was. I thought it was interesting in that to see how they, figured out what,
Now, I will say that had a great premise. Like the idea behind it was great. The story itself, not great. Execution, awful. And then the twist on that one was not good. I feel like he's like having written stuff before. I feel like that's where you have like one of those great ideas. And you just like pops in. You're like, man, what if this happened? Like you describe it in 3 sentences and it's fantastic. And then you go to write it and then just total poop just comes out of the keyboard.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was there anything? Oh, he did Signs. That was another one.
That one was good.
I liked that one.
That one didn't really have a twist. I kind of had a twist, but it was.
Yeah, the twist was the water, and that.
Yeah. What else did he do? He did Unbreakable.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was a good one too.
That was a good movie. They made a second one that was not Unbreakable. It was like something different. I didn't even know. I got heard the movie, but I didn't know it was related. And then they just recently made a third one.
Really?
Because the second one was about a totally different character, but was in the same universe or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the third one, because that character is like a bad guy, I guess. And then the third one is where Sam Jackson and Bruce Willis come back, and then that guy comes in. I'd be curious to see it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there were 2 movies after the first one.
Yeah, like I said, the one they didn't market it as a sequel, or they didn't market it as even related. So I didn't even know until like I saw that they made Unbreakable 2 was coming out, and I was like, man. So I looked it up to see if it's real and if like when it's coming out. And then they're like, yeah, the third one in the series. And it's like, third one?
Third one, but it says 2.
Yeah. Then I looked it up, and there was the third one. I forget what the third one was though. We could look it up later, but went and saw the new John Wick.
Oh yeah,
that was good.
I haven't seen any of them.
The first one. So I like them, and the action is fantastic in them. Yeah. It's because Keanu. Have you ever watched anything or read anything on Keanu Reeves
about his personal life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Sounds like a really awesome person.
Yeah, he's like,
who's had a whole lot of horrible stuff happen.
Yeah, I would love to hang out with that guy.
Yeah,
because he basically has enough money, and so whenever he does a movie, whatever he gets, he just donates to like a children's hospital or something.
Yeah.
But then his like pastimes are like doing motocross professionally. Like, have you ever seen where he does that? I don't know if it's motocross, but it's some sort of dirt motorcycle racing.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, he competes in that, and then like he also does like that. I forget what they call it, but that like urban combat, like speed run stuff, where you get like your gun and they put it up with like a pop-up course.
Yeah, well, I thought I read that he did part of that for the John Wick movies.
From what I understood with what he was doing, he started that with. From what I understood, he started with The Matrix, and they had to do a little gun training, and he liked it, and then he had to do some martial arts training, and he liked that too, and because he liked it, and he's rich, and he can kind of do whatever he wants with his free time. That's what he started doing with his free time.
Yeah,
it's crazy to watch him because he's good. Like if you watch him do those courses, I saw a video.
Yeah, I've seen a video of him doing it.
He's like running, he's like boom, 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 and he's actually like getting headshots and stuff like that. So that makes the movie so much better because nothing, absolutely nothing, makes me more mad when they put like, because they always do it with the female characters. Because it's like, oh, we're going to get strong female. We need a strong, powerful female in this movie. It's like, yeah, who are we going to get? We're going to get Drew Barrymore. And it's like, okay. And so you got someone that's like built like me, and they're sitting there like, and they're holding a gun. They're supposed to be like a trained assassin that kills like 300 people a day type of person. And then they're holding the gun like,
Yeah.
like the gun's almost over their head, like elbows locked. It's like, when that thing kicks, it's going to hurt your elbows super duper bad.
Yeah, I remember, maybe you'll remember it because you were there when somebody said they were going to train to be a cop. And so they were practicing with your airsoft gun. And so they weren't using the sights correctly. They were basically just lining up the sight that's on the nose. They were just putting it where it needs to go and not so basically imagine pointing it up because they were only looking at the dot.
I mean, you don't have to say a full name, but
Yeah.
what was the like initials?
Normally went by nickname.
Oh, last name? No, not last name.
No, not a last name or first name. First initial J, real name, I think.
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
You have to tell me it later. But yeah, remember the time I lit Croy up? Oh, you weren't there for it, but I told you about it, I think. Because I got that electric airsoft gun back when we were playing.
Oh, yes, I do. I was there for that.
Were you there for that?
Yeah.
And he got super mad and like got like inches away from, like, if you've ever been shot with one of those airsoft guns, I've played paintball and I've played airsoft, and I think airsoft, the hit stings more.
Yeah.
But paintball, it hurts more. So like
Paintball will bruise, whereas
like you get hit with the paintball and it hurts. It hurts like someone punched you, whereas the airsoft feels like someone just poked you in the back with a needle or something.
it gives you a nice welt.
And he got like an inch away from me, or 4 inches away. I got right up next to me and just point blank shot me. So I turned around and point blank shot him with mine, fully auto.
Yeah.
So,
Yours was a lot more powerful and, put out a lot more.
he hit me with one. I hit him with 30.
I don't remember if it was you or someone else where we were playing and I came from around a tree and whoever it was got me right in the forehead.
Oh, that hurts.
And it was like, yep, you definitely got me. It was a good shot.
I think I got Steven one time in the crotch. Like he was bent down. And it, like they'd curve and go down or go left and right. You saw how they spun.
Oh, with the first ones that we had?
Yeah. Well, and he was he was down like this, and like this was here. And so like he's squatting down and
nice
like
tight.
and the pants are tight, and I think I hit him right in the nad. And if I remember right, he just like fell over. Was like, ah!
Put you out of commission for a little bit.
Oh my gosh, I felt bad on that one. I feel like airsoft would be fun now, but also like I'd feel like a total weirdo for playing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you get to a point where you're old enough where it's like, now it'd be weird.
Yeah. Like you'd have fun for a little while, then you get done and feel like self-conscious about it. You get done, you're just like, ugh, this is what I did with my afternoon.
Yeah. My brother-in-law, he's pretty into airsoft, but he's also, I think he's 18, so
That makes more sense, yeah.
totally acceptable.
I think
He has friends who play it who are older, like upper 20s, and it's like, okay, what's wrong with them?
Yeah. Well, it's the thing too is like when you're younger, you're scrounging for money for those things, and I feel like if you're using the lower end ones, it's more. I don't know. It just seems like it's not as weird. Like I see people now that they're in their 30s, and that's like I saw a guy on the internet, and he was talking about that's what he likes to do for his hobby, and like he has like full tactical gear, and he has like a $400 gun and like all these Targon like night sights on it and everything. Like those things are like $300 a set because they've got actual like nuclear material in them. And so he's got like all of this stuff that's just like he spent more on that than a person would ever spend on a real life gun.
Yeah. Well, I guess people need hobbies. I don't know.
Yeah, and they'd like rent like these big warehouse places and just go play. Which I mean, don't get me wrong. If someone had all the stuff and like, would you want to come? I'd probably be like, sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like once you're spending like $5,000 to shoot plastic BBs at your friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, different strokes for different folks. I'm not going to fault someone for doing it. It's just for me, I just feel it's not my thing.
Yeah. I guess that's how I would feel too. If invited to it, sure, why not? It'll be fun. Just like paintball.
Yeah.
I'd go paintballing. And...
Of course, then there's people who think it's asinine. I'm a 30-year-old who plays video games.
Yeah, it's true.
That's a children's thing.
I'd play games if I had time.
Yeah, I don't play them very. I tell you what, though, video games have gotten less fun. I was thinking about it the other day, and I remember playing Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo. You'd play Mega Man or something like that, and there's quite literally no story. And if there is a story, it is like a paragraph of story,
Yeah.
and then you're just trying to beat the game at that point. And you did grind in those games, but it was like, playing Mega Man, you had to get through the level.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to sit in one spot and shoot one of those little hard hat guys for like 6 hours straight so you could get enough credits to buy the next power up for
Right.
your grind was you just try to get a little farther and you die. You try to get a little farther and you die. And then finally you get to the end and you're like, yes.
Yeah, that one's more muscle memory than like doing it over and over because you have to do it over and over.
Well, you're practicing to get excellent at it. Like you're working for excellence. Whereas nowadays games are like, it's like a 10-hour game. And they're like, well, we need at least 40 in this thing. So it's like, well, let's put 30 hours of grinding in here.
Yeah.
They're going to have to run all over this gigantic map and pick 600 different flowers so they can come back and get the only weapon that's going to work for the next level.
Yeah.
It's like,
So they're, just constantly doing stuff that's not necessarily hard and it's pretty easy, but it's annoying because it's taking up so much time and you got to do it so often.
but then on the flip side, they spend more money than probably most Hollywood movies
Yeah.
just for actors, script, and graphics. And so you've got these fantastic stories and they're being voiced by like Liam Neesons and people like that.
Yeah.
And then the gameplay is just like, you're going to have to run back and forth between these 2 points for the next 3 hours of real life time.
Yeah.
It's like it went from being something with no story where you're just practicing and trying to see if you can get farther. It went from like a challenge. It's not even like anything else. You went from that to like a movie with an extra long movie with annoying roadblocks in the middle if you want to go farther.
Yeah. It's almost like a choose your own ending movie.
Only to flip the frickin' page, you've got to read a tech book for your dishwasher first.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even leading into like Tony Hawk, those games, the first one, there was no story in Tony Hawk.
Quite literally none. They just like, here's your guy, go to town.
What skater do you want? Here's their moves. There you go. Go collect these letters for no apparent reason.
Yeah. You've got to get this highest score to go to the next one.
Yep. That's all it is. And then the second one.
Yeah, they went through like 2 or 3, didn't they, before they got to a story?
Yeah, I think the third one, it was much bigger, and I don't think it had a story either until they started putting the animated cutscenes.
And then they had like Underground, and that's where it was like totally a story, which I feel like that age of game was the perfect game because they started adding story in. So you kind of got into the story, but it was the exact same gameplay as the other one. So there's not like any grindiness to it. You're just playing the same ones. It's just every so often you're treated to a 10-minute movie, basically.
Yeah. Which, those didn't really, I could see that. Still no real grinding like nowadays on that. You'd have to do it over and over to get, perfect it because, those were fun. We both have fond memories of those games.
Oh, man. Remember when we used to go on Underground 1 and just school the people online?
Oh, yeah. We'd take turns. People would be like, you're cheating. Be like, nope, definitely not. And then we'd every once in a great while actually come to somebody else who was the same level and be like, oh, finally, a challenge.
Yeah, then you'd play them for like hours because you guys are just like, we're finally doing it.
Yep.
Man, I wish we had Twitch back then. We would have been YouTube stars at that point.
Yeah, probably.
There is no game I want to get that good at anymore.
No. We don't have that much time to
No, that's the other thing. I can't spend 5 hours a day every day for 3 months doing nothing but that.
Yeah.
That's why I like the new Dark Soul games. Those give you that feeling where you're actually like it's just punishing. And it's fantastic because then when you get to the end, you actually got to the end because you got better.
Yeah, I've heard that those are quite challenging. And when you first start, you're like, this is impossible. Mm-hmm. But then, you have to, well, as I say, get good.
Mm-hmm. I should let you try Bloodborne. It's on the
Pathogens?
Yeah. No, it's on the. I have it on PlayStation. You should give it a try. It's made by the same people. It's got the same feel, but it's a good time. Yeah, I don't know. I just picked up. They had a sale on Mass Effect Andromeda, and that's been fun so far. It's got a good story and it's got some challenge to it. I feel like it's a little clunky, like how shooting works.
Yeah,
but overall, it's been fun so far. And you don't have like that one. You have grinding, but it's not so bad. They put enough story around what you're doing. So like if you're grinding, you're like helping make a place for the next colony to fall down and colonize a planet or whatever. So you actually grind. It's not, you're not grinding for 4 hours straight. You're grinding for like 45 minutes and the thing falls out and you're like, yes, I did it.
I have, PS3.
There you go.
That's the.
You need to get a PS4. They're not that bad anymore.
I can't justify buying it because I don't have enough time.
It's true.
It'd just be a media station like the PS3 is right now.
Yeah.
Then I got my 10-year-old laptop, my 10-year-old gaming laptop that within the last year I finally stopped looking on Steam because I'm like, you know what? There are very few games on here that I could buy that would actually still run on here.
Yeah. Well, and it's, as old as that is, it's probably not running it wouldn't even run as good on the old games that it was used to run.
Right.
Good.
No, it's definitely starting to fall apart. And I was that person who, it's like, oh, a Steam sale. And I'd buy, it's probably sad how many games I have. I think I have over 400.
Wow.
And, then they update it and they're like showing you the percentages of the games that you've played. It's like I've fully completed 2% of the games I own. And I've only installed 23%.
Yeah, Steam. I got to a point where I had to stop doing that too because Steam was real bad that it would have like a 90% off sale on something. And you're just like, man, I get this game for like $6. It should be like $60. And you end up buying like 4 or 5 of them in a month. You're like, wow, I'm spending like $60, $70 a month on games.
Yeah.
You're getting like 30 games a month, but still.
Yeah. Well, I remember, there was one time I actually caught Steam where it had messed up. Mm-hmm. It was during the summer when they had one of their large summer sales. And I heard that if you catch them every once in a while, they would have an error with their price and it'd be too low. Mm-hmm. And I found, I think it was 96% off and it was right after Dishonored had just come out. Mm-hmm. So I got it for next to nothing. And it was almost a brand new game.
That's awesome.
And it was only on that. It was maybe 5 minutes, and then they put it to the correct price.
They lost some money on that one.
Yeah.
But you kind of got more into the little small, you can play them for 10-minute type games. I remember you playing that Papers, Please for a while.
Yeah, that one was good. Well, the thing that was stupid about that was I played the demo. Yeah, I was really into that Steam Greenlight for a while, where it was people that were trying to, make their way onto Steam, so they'd have to get approved through there. And I found Papers, Please on there, played their demo, loved the demo. It got on Steam, bought the game. I never even installed it. Or maybe I installed it, but I don't even.
I bet that one would still play on your computer.
I'm sure. That one wasn't too taxing.
You should grab it, put it back up there. You own it.
It's probably still installed. I rarely even get on my computer anymore.
That's funny. Yeah, I need to. I don't know. Games are just. What's driving me nuts is because I used to love games, and they're just. I don't know. They just don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I will say this though, I could play games for hours on end without a problem, as long as I could find another human being that I like to play them with.
Yeah.
So if you and I could go online and play, I'd totally play games all the time. And if I can get Brian online, we play games a ton. Yeah. Or Jason or just anyone. I think it's more just hanging out with people because then you're hanging out with them, and then the game's kind of secondary.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun with your friends on some games. I remember we used to play Wolfenstein.
Oh my gosh.
Enemy Territory. That one was a really good game.
That was free too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was free to play. I remember I was horrible at that game when I started.
We got good though.
Yeah, I remember getting really good.
I remember Brian would come over and I had 2 computers. And he'd get the scope out on the sniper rifle and find guys, and I'd watch off his screen
And use
with
the Panzer.
and then use the bazooka, just fire rockets, or just like they'd spawn in, walk about 10 feet, and I'd clear the whole team in one
Yep.
shot. Oh, I'd make them mad.
Those are good times.
Yeah, and those games were so much fun until people got like obsessed with the first person shooter. And then it went
Yeah.
from where like you and I could, like, if we started today, we'd be bad, but in 3 weeks of playing, a little bit every day, we'd be good enough to compete. And now it's like you have these guys that they just wipe the floor with you, and they come on with like 8 friends at a time and fill up an entire team, and they're all talking and running plays and stuff, and you're just over there with a bunch of like 6-year-olds who are crying about something. You're just like, it's not even fun because then you just spawn in, die.
Yeah, I remember I tried to play, I think it was Call of Duty 2 Modern Warfare, or Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Mm-hmm. And that one, it depended on the time of day how good I was. Mm-hmm. Like, if I was on lunch and I went home and played, this was still when I was working construction. If I was in town, I'd go home, play on there, and I would just cream everybody. Come home after work and try to play, horrible. I'd die every time.
That's because who was online.
Yeah.
All the other guys are at work. They get home from work.
No, it was all the kids were at school is what it was.
Well, that too, yeah.
10-year-old Jimmy beat the crap out of me.
Yeah. Well, and that game was like the last first-person shooter I was actually good at.
Yeah.
Because then we did that World War II Modern Warfare that came out on PlayStation. Me and Adam did. The newest. No, it's not newest now. I think they've got something else, but it was the newest. It was, and we got pretty good at it. And I mean, we still pretty much died all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, those games you die all the time anyway, but like we were like usually the bottom of the team. Then every now and then you'd have that magic golden game where you'd be like the second from the top or something. You're just like, yes. No, who has time for that stuff anymore?
Yeah. I don't have time to get that good, that's for sure.
Heck, we have to make plans to do this stuff, and we just hang out for a couple hours.
Yeah. Getting old.
Yeah. It's a drag, man. What time are we at? We're at 2 hours.
Yeah. 2 hours, almost 10 minutes. Yeah.
We're doing good.
Yeah.
See if we can get 4. Considering it's 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm down for that.
I'm 100% not down for that.
Yeah, I'm mature enough and old enough to say, yeah, I want to go to sleep.
Bedtime, please. Yes.
Yeah. I do have a bedtime. I do have to work in the morning.
Yeah. I'm usually in bed by like 8 or 9.
I'll be in bed at 10, probably go to sleep between 11 and 12. Probably should go to sleep before that, but I always end up staying up for some stupid reason.
Yeah. Sometimes I have a hard time going to sleep. Probably shouldn't have finished my monster.
Have another.
Go shotgun one real quick.
Yeah. I think it's, if you get too much caffeine, then it counteracts and then.
Actually, caffeine really doesn't affect me. I can drink like 6 Mountain Dews and go straight to bed.
Yeah, I used to think that until I realized I was laying in bed at night not falling asleep. And I was like, oh, wait, maybe caffeine does bother me.
No, it doesn't. I can do it. I've done it multiple times where I've done that, but these sometimes are a little different. I think it's the B vitamins because it takes them about 45 minutes to kick in, and then you're actually kind of awake, alert. Do you know you can OD on B vitamins? Like not die OD, but like it's hard on your kidneys if you take too much.
Oh, well, I knew it wasn't the best to drink a bunch of Monsters all the time.
Yeah, actually, Monsters are not awful for you. Everyone always talked about they were awful because they just assumed.
You're just saying that because that's what you drink, Kyle.
Kyle. I'm waiting for my sponsorship. Wow, there's quite a bit of caffeine in this one, though.
Oh, yeah.
140 milligrams.
What's weird for me with caffeine, it seems to be like when I'm just laying in bed, if I've had too much caffeine, it'll keep me awake. Mm-hmm. However, if I've been drinking coffee all morning and I'm tired, like if I'm driving and I'm actively drinking coffee, getting a bunch of caffeine, it won't keep me awake.
No.
I'll be like, I want to fall asleep while I'm driving, while I'm doing something. But when I'm laying in bed, it's like, nope, not going to happen. You're not doing enough. I don't know.
Here you go. There's 95 milligrams of caffeine in 1 8-ounce cup of coffee. And this has 140. So it's less than 2 cups of coffee in this. But it's the taurine's what's bad for you. The taurine, if you get the ones that aren't sugar-free, they've got like a ton of sugar. But other than that, most of the energy stuff comes from freaking B vitamins.
Yeah. When I used to travel when I worked at the factory, I pretty much never buy energy drinks. I do enjoy them, but I can't justify the cost most of the time. But like if I traveled for work, everything was paid for. So like if I stopped at a gas station and I wanted a snack, take them the receipt, they paid for it. So
That's
I'll be
awesome.
like, hey, I'm going to get a Monster. And I'm going to get the big one.
Yeah, what's funny, because I used to buy them just when I was wanting a pick-me-up kind of a thing, so just not even once a week, it's less than that.
Yeah.
And then I started drinking a little more. And then one day I was like, you know what, I should just stop drinking these. And like a Coke's not good for you, but I was like, I used to always get a Coke maybe once a day, get them at the gas station. I was like, I'll just get a Coke instead. So I put my $2.50 Monster back in the cooler, went to get a Coke, and it was $2.25. I'm like, well, then I might as well get the stinking Monster.
Yeah. You could justify it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rarely buy soda.
Even the fountain drinks are like almost $2 a cup now.
Yeah.
I mean, those things are like 70 cents.
Yeah.
They still cost like $7. They still cost the
Oh,
same.
yeah. The
Like,
price for the syrup and stuff I'm sure, hasn't gone up that much.
no, it's not changed a lot. That's the thing. Everything's expensive now.
It really is.
Like it's gone in the past 3 years. It's gone crazy. Like beers. I like having a beer in the evening. Like one beer. Actually, I allot myself one beer a day. And typically I don't even come close to that quota. It's like maybe one beer every 3 days.
Yeah.
But, I used to drink like the Coors or those things that are the American beers, what you would call the American
Domestic beers?
Yeah, the domestic. And then and they used to be not bad. Like you get a 30-pack of Coors or 24-pack, whatever they came in, of Coors, and it'd be like $13 or something. A 24-pack of Budweiser is now $19.
Yeah.
Almost $1 a beer for Bud Lights.
It's ridiculous. Speaking of Bud Light, my
Wood Light.
my sister-in-law, I think the last time she came down, she really likes that what's the one over in Indiana? It comes out of Pennsylvania.
Oh,
The
Leinenkugel? Kugel?
No.
Not Leinenkugel.
I think it's
Yingling.
Yes, that one. Mm-hmm. She bought a pack of those and brought it over, and my brother-in-law, who was with her, he'd never had them. Mm-hmm. But he liked beer. I mean, he just, occasional beer here and there. And he's a pretty funny guy. He he'd never had it. Sister-in-law gave him one, which is his sister. And he starts drinking it. We're like, so what do you think? Pretty good, right? He goes, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's no Bud Light.
Well, it's funny because, like, if you go anywhere that's not here and you get a Yingling,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I can't wait to have a Yingling. And they're like, why?
Yeah.
Because out there, it's just another Budweiser, another Miller or something. It's just another, like, domestic beer. To them, it's not weird. To us, it is weird.
Right.
But because I go there for a while, I was going to Indiana every couple months to do stuff. I would come back with a couple of 12s of Yingling just because. After I drank them for a little while, I realized that they're really not that great. They're okay.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like they're better than what like the Coors Bud Miller. Mm-hmm. But they're in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
Like you go to like one of these guys here, and it's leaps and bounds better. But they're expensive, man.
I'll bet.
Last time I got them in Indiana, I got a 12-pack for $18, I think.
Sheesh.
So it's more than $1 a beer.
Yeah. It's pretty expensive.
And I get these guys for about the same price, and they're way better.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where people that have it, they're just so used to it that it's not special. Like every time we go through Champaign, Amber has to stop at Wiener Schnitzel.
I forgot about that they had one.
Yeah, which probably most people around here don't even know what a Wiener Schnitzel is. But in California, where she grew up, that was a special treat. They had them everywhere. And like she remembers growing up, like that was something special. And it just so happens to be that the closest one around here is in Champaign. And I think we looked it up. I think there might be one in Chicago.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's the only one for a pretty big area.
Are they good?
Yeah, they get the chili cheese dogs is what they really like. I mean, we go through there, and then the people at Wiener Schnitzel look at us like we're crazy because we'll be like, yeah, we need 20 chili cheese dogs. Because we get them, and then we take them all the way up to Michigan where the rest of her family is because they want them too.
Do those things keep that long? I mean,
They actually keep in the fridge pretty well.
I would think if they got chili on them, they would just turn to a goo pile.
No, they reheat pretty good. Which the time before when we had gone through there, we ordered a bunch, and the guy at the window was like, "Why do you get so much?" And then Amber told him why, and he's like, "You do realize that we sell the cans of chili itself too, right?" And they're like, "What?" So Amber, yeah, she had to buy a can to take up.
There you go.
And they have specific instructions. It's weird because you mix it, and you mix it with ice water, and you let it sit in the fridge overnight. Yeah.
That's weird.
Then after it's sat in the fridge overnight, you bring it out, and then you heat it up. So yeah, they don't just. It's like concentrate in the can, and I mean it's a large can. It was a $25 purchase, but I mean it made like it was like 2 or 3 gallons of chili. So,
Oh my!
yeah, it made a lot. It was highly concentrated, and I think you also had to add the meat to it. So you added the meat. It had to be ice water. Yeah, you let it sit in the fridge overnight.
That's interesting.
It was interesting.
That's kind of like In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah.
They're fantastic too. Now, that one's interesting too because when you get excited when you go to a place that has In-N-Out Burger and you're like, I got to get an In-N-Out Burger. Got to get one. Everyone looks at you funny, but then you're like, you don't like In-N-Out Burger? And they're like, oh, no, it's my favorite fast food chain. It's like, then why are you looking at me funny? We don't get it.
Yeah. Why are you judging me right now?
Yeah.
You should be excited for me.
So like California people, you do that and they're just like, why are you getting excited for this? It's like, well, you don't like it? And they're like, no, I love it. Then why aren't you getting excited about it right now?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Next time you're somewhere where there's an In-N-Out Burger, get their Neapolitan milkshake. Fantastic.
Yeah. When I was in Texas, they actually have some there in Texas now.
And they have Whataburgers down there.
Yeah. Whataburgers are like the McDonald's of Texas, basically. That's
I've never had one, though.
no, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I like them.
Well, you know, McDonald's started in, where was it? Like Plainfield or somewhere like that up north here.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I thought it was in California.
I forget where it was, but it was just not too far away. And then, of course, Jimmy John's started in,
Yeah, that was in Charleston. I knew that. Out of a garage, wasn't it?
yeah. he was
Crazy.
delivering out of his van to the college kids.
Yep.
And then they had that little dink shop that's like, was like back there behind 4th Street Records. Like that was the first place he bought to actually make them. And they used that place and like, it was still there when I left. It wasn't until like a couple years after I left that they built a new one on the corner there.
Yeah. Entrepreneurs.
He's still in Champaign. I guess he gives them a hard time up there because he's rich and he thinks he can get involved in all the goings on of the town. And so like he goes to like all the board meetings and stuff and just harasses them. Like they despise him up there.
He's got that harassment money going on.
Yeah, just goes in. I don't like what they're doing with my town. I got the money. I'm just going to give them a hard time. That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting to have that kind of money for sure. I'd be okay with trying it.
Oh, yeah. I'd definitely be interested if it was offered.
Yeah.
So anybody out there, yeah, go ahead.
You want to run an experiment and see how I do with lots of money, then I'm down for that experiment.
Yeah, I'll only spend maybe half. I don't know. I got some ideas.
Yeah, they'll want me to spend, like, you need to buy, like, an expensive car so, we can record you with that. And I'm going to go buy, like, a used Lamborghini and use the extra money that I should have spent on a regular one to pay out the rest of my house off.
Yeah.
It's be like, no. I bought it new. I used the whole wad you gave me.
No, if I had a lot of money, I wouldn't even know what to do with it.
Midwesterners, I think, in general, are kind of boring when it comes to that stuff. Like, you have some that go nuts. But I think a lot of us, it's like, you give us some money and we'd be like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Like, you go to California and you give like, you're like, I'm going to give you $1 million. What are you going to do? I'm going to go buy a Bugatti or something like that. It's like, give us, it's like, I'm going to pay my house off.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually hire someone to landscape my front yard. It's going to be fantastic.
That reminds me of my uncle. He was getting into, trying to get deep conversation with me and my brother-in-law, my sister's husband. Mm-hmm. And he's like, so just imagine, like, say you were given, like $10 million. He's like, what would you do with that? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I'd probably pay off all my debts first. And he's like, you have way more than enough money to do that. What else would you do with it? I was like, I don't know. I can't think past that. So sorry. He's like, I'm sorry. That's kind of a boring response. But my brother-in-law, he's a little more talkative and
he likes money too.
He had some ideas. He likes money and he's good at making money.
Yeah. See, if I had lots of money, first thing, yes, pay off my debt.
Yeah.
I know exactly what I'd do if I had 10 million. If I had 10 million, I'd pay off all my debts, which would take
and then invest
it'd take less than 150 grand. I think I could do it all for under 100 grand easy.
Yeah.
Pay off everything, my house, my car, everything. And then I'd put all of it in probably treasury bonds and earn 1% interest and just live on that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I could definitely do that.
Or find something that's like near risk free and get like 3% or something. Because 3%, you know what 3% of $10 million is?
A lot.
$300,000.
Yeah.
$100,000 per percent. I can live on that.
Yeah,
You'd never have to dip into the principal.
That's definitely livable.
I mean, I could live on that, and then when everything starts getting expensive, my kids could live on a majority. They could live on that.
Yeah.
You might have to get some supplemental after that. Things I'm sure would
Well,
be.
and that's assuming that you're spending all $300,000 every year too, which I think it would almost be a chore.
Yeah, for me it would be. I mean, I'd buy a different house probably and have a much nicer studio.
Yeah, but I mean, it wouldn't take long to get all the things you want, and then you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to keep buying houses.
Yeah, or maybe I would keep buying houses and try to sell them.
Well, that's true. You could buy houses and make money there.
Because then you'd have the time to flip them, and if you didn't flip them for any, like even if you lost money, big, I still have plenty. Yeah. I think that's the thing I would like to have for money. I don't really need like crazy cars or anything. I wouldn't even want a house that's much bigger than this one. Probably wouldn't want one even bigger than this one. I would just want one that was not on the main drag.
Yeah.
Maybe has a little taller basement. That'd be about like those would be the things I'd be looking for. Yeah. So you go get like a 3-bathroom, like 6-bedroom house? Like, no, I'm gonna get a 1 or 2 bathroom, 3-bedroom, maybe 4-bedroom, so I could have my studio upstairs instead of in the basement. It's like that's the extent of my dreaming.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we are a little boring.
Oh,
Maybe
we're totally boring.
Yeah, like you said, Midwestern. Sorry, average dudes here. Don't.
And that's the Midwest too. Like it's like you go out to the East Coast, and those people want like prestige stuff.
Yeah,
like I don't know. It's just funny because if you just the attitude, like they want to have stuff that's impressive, and you go out to the West Coast and they want stuff that's expensive. Like they want awesome things that are just fun and expensive. In the Midwest, we're like, well, we got sweet corn. I mean, that's good enough.
Yeah. I got my car paid off. It's several years old, but who cares?
I bought a slightly used Mercedes. Got a steal on it on eBay.
Yeah, sounds like me. The newest car I ever bought was I got a 2010 Volkswagen. Bought it in 2012, and
that's splurging.
It was. And I still have that car, and it's less than 10,000 miles away from being over, or it's, going to be rolling over 200,000 here soon.
Wow.
I think it's getting to the point where the suspension needs to be changed on it. Pretty sure the rear end is starting to get a little
Loose back there.
Yeah, but which it's still the standard original suspension on it, so I feel like that's pretty impressive.
You've always kind of had a loose back end, so.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, that's really not that bad of an expense. I think it's going to be big when you have to do it, and you're going to hate it. But 200,000 miles, I mean, stuff's going to start breaking. You got to fix it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even if you have to replace a bunch of stuff, that's still good.
Yeah, I think this was the very first car that we actually stayed on top of the maintenance on, and it definitely made it go much, much longer than all my others combined have. It's like I have my old Volkswagen. It's actually got less miles than this one on it, and it is in way worse shape.
Yeah. Well, that one's had a much more abusive lifestyle, too.
Oh, yeah, I did not take care of that one at all. Like 10, 15,000 miles between oil changes. Yeah, well,
those old Volkswagens, though, they're heavy duty. They'll still.
I mean, it's definitely got some sort of a click in it when it's running. I remember multiple times pulling out the dipstick to check the oil after it had been running, so it was nice and warm, and it was not even on the stick.
I remember I took Jen's car out of knock, and I thought she had changed the oil, and she hadn't. And so I took it in, and like the guy at the oil change place was mad at me because he's like, I took the plug out and nothing came out. He's like, why would you let your car get that low? And I was like, I didn't know.
Wait, how long did you wait? You got to let the tar seep out. Come on.
Yeah, that car didn't run right after that.
Huh.
Then the transmission blew up on it.
Yeah.
And we had it parked over here, and some guy just drove up and was like, I'll give you $3,000 for it. I was like, sold.
You sure are an idiot, but okay.
It's like, you're signing a paper that says, you know it's not running, taking it as is.
Man. Yeah, you got lucky with that one.
Yeah. It was just funny because he's like, I'll take it. $3,000. You would take $3,000 for it? Yes.
Man. I'm pretty cheap when it comes to vehicles.
Yeah.
That newer Volkswagen's the only one I've spent more than $2,000 on.
I feel like when you spend, like used to, I never spent more than $5,000 on a car. Like $5,000 was a lot for me.
Take that back. I had that Sebring. That was a horrible car.
Well, I feel like in general, if you spend at least like $10,000 on a car and you make sure it's lower mileage and you give it a thorough look over, you tend to get a car that's going to last you long. Like you're not going to have to trade 3 or 4 times. You know what I mean? Like you get those $5,000 cars. It's like, yeah, technically you're saving money because, you know, you're buying it for $5,000, you're driving it for 70,000 miles and trading it back in for 3,000 or whatever. But you're also putting in like $300 worth of alternators. You're probably going to run a battery or two while that's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like you get every penny out of those that you spend the extra money on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can wrap this guy up. We've been on here for a long time. We got sidetracked.
Yeah. Pushed it another half hour out.
Yeah.
Ooh, buddy.
Yeah. We'll just keep going. We'll get 4 hours and we can split it in half and then we want to come back.
Yeah, we're doing multiple episodes in this one sitting. So.
Yeah. That would be awful. Like I enjoy sitting around talking, but like with the headphones on and just sitting here doing it, that'd be a long time.
Yeah, it'd get a little stale after a while.
Kind of like those mushroom jerkies.
I don't think they get stale over time. I think they start off stale.
I think we need to make like a smoothie out of those things.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that food episode, right? So
Are we?
Well,
the one where you're going to switch out an ingredient?
yeah, I'm going to either add or subtract or add or swap an ingredient. I might do a couple where I do just one and then have like a second batch that has maybe a couple extra in there just to see if people are adventurous enough to try it.
Yeah.
What do you have any ideas? I have some good ones. I'm not telling them because I want them to be a total surprise, but do you have any ideas?
For like ingredient swapping?
Yeah, like what 2 flavors do you think would just be abysmal together? Like I said, the first one that we have, and I'm going to do it, is I'm going to make wasabi cinnamon rolls. Take out the cinnamon sugar, put wasabi in.
Yeah. Well, see, I don't like wasabi as it is.
I don't either.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that'd be a good one.
Yeah, it's gonna be awful.
I mean, there are some flavor. My tastes have expanded, so I'm not as prudish as I was when I was younger. But like, if it's something cooked in, I'm fine. I don't know.
It's hard to think of. Like I thought it'd be simple, but I mean,
You got to do like instead of going so drastic, just switch something out. Like something that normally would be made with sugar, swap it out with salt.
yeah. Oh,
Actually,
that's a great idea.
I think that happened. I think my sister had gotten some applesauce from my grandma, and she used to make the best applesauce. It was wonderful. And my sister had gotten a container from her, and it didn't taste right, and she accidentally put salt in instead of the sugar. So that was a sad deal there. But
Oh man, yeah,
I guess you could swap it for cocaine. That might be.
But like if you made like chocolate pudding, and then you swap the salt for the sugar,
Yeah.
that would be abysmal.
Yeah.
Or even sugar for salt, I think would work better. Like it would be tastier. Like if you took like
Oh yeah, something that was supposed to have.
like if you took a hamburger and like, you usually put some salt in it. If you took the salt out and put some sugar in it.
That's probably a really good one to do because I think it'd be way worse than you think.
You think so?
But then again, I'm not big on sweet meats like barbecues. I don't like barbecue flavors.
So if I made like cinnamon sugar hamburgers, that'd be gross.
I would hate it.
I bet there'd be people that would like it though.
I'm sure there are. I am not one of those people though.
That was one I had on there. And like everyone I told that one to, I was like, because I was asking like random people that weren't going to do it. It's like, what do you think about a cinnamon sugar hamburger? And they're just like, actually, that sounds good. Just like, ugh.
Or you do that, but then you swap out. Wasn't it like Paula Deen? She did a bacon cheeseburger, but the buns were donuts. Mm-hmm. Gross. I'm just not a huge sweets person, though. That's my thing. So, like, if you're mixing something sweet in with, a meat, for me, it's not supposed to be sweet, then, yeah, it's going to throw me off for sure.
The other thing is consistency. If you can get something that makes the consistency wrong, like completely wrong, that can do it too.
I don't know if that's going to bother me as much.
And I have a like one of these things I'm going to make is going to be there's two of them that I'm thinking of right now that are going to be probably just complete abominations. And one of the reasons I'm still going to do them because there's more than one ingredient being swapped out here. These are just going to be total Frankensteins. And the reason that I'm going to do them is because Brad has specifically said that it's not possible to make him gag with a flavor. And I was like,
oh, really?
Challenge accepted. You don't know how cruel I can be.
You could definitely make me gag with a flavor.
Oh.
I would, if you give me the wrong thing, you might not want to have me in here when I try it on your carpet.
Oh no, I told Brad he's in charge of getting like some like Home Depot or Lowe's like 5-gallon buckets, like the cheapo ones, because we're gonna need like 4 of those. Someone's gonna hurl. Everyone needs their own individual one.
I don't know that I'm looking forward to this.
I'm absolutely not. I'm looking forward to observing it afterwards, but I'm not looking forward to participating.
At least it'll smell good in here, right?
Yeah. Oh, and it was funny because like Brad was like, "Well, you wouldn't have to do it since you're making it." I was like, "No, I have to do it. I can't subject you guys to this and then not do it. That's just a butt move."
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, let's end this. Let's end this stuff.
Yeah.
We did a good one. We went forever. Brad's probably gonna have to cut some of this stuff.
Yeah. Have fun with that.
Yeah. Enjoy your cutting, Brad.
Oh, thanks, Brad.
All right. Well, hopefully everyone that listened enjoyed, and we'll talk to you hopefully next week, guys. Tune in next week for another exciting adventure with Alex and Daniel. Oh wait,
it's still. What'd you do?
I'm not doing my job right.
There it is.
When you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. When you're on the pot, give it all you got. On your on your hot, on your on your not, on your hot, give it all you got. It stings when I pee. It burns when I poop when I push real hard. Things don't go that